the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up. In the rapper world today.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. Good morning. Hi, y'all. Welcome to the show. It's amazing. You can get involved by calling 888-7753-773, 888-77-JESSE, Jesse, Jesse. My biblical question for this week, the biblical question: are you afraid you're not going to make it? Are you afraid you're not going to make it? Isn't that an amazing question? Amazing. We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on jesseleepeterson.com/show. jesseleepeterson.com/show. And you can listen live on the show. Listen live to the show if you're busy and can't sit and watch it. I know some people podcast it too later, but you can listen live while you're doing whatever you are doing. Whatever. You can listen live on your iPhone or iPad by calling the listen line at 641-793-1500. 641-793-1500. Do follow us, like, subscribe, and do all those things on social media, right? We are on X, JLP Talk on X, and Rumble. You got to know how to rumble.com/Jesse Lee Peterson. And to donate and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk. buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk or rebuildingtheman.com. Rebuildingtheman.com. Amazing. Manhood hour is coming up in the third hour, by the way.
Amazing.
Amazing. I was reflecting this morning because, sometimes I watch the news there, and I never know what is true in the news anymore. You just don't know the truth. And I realized that I've already realized this before, but it just occurred to me again for whatever reason, that our government is supposed to protect us from problems like wars and crime and high taxes and protection and all that stuff, right? But if you really, really, really pay attention, the only thing that the government is doing, the only thing that they're doing is creating problems. They're not solving problems at all. They're creating problems. They intentionally don't drill in America. They intentionally raise taxes. They intentionally bring in the illegal aliens. They invite them in intentionally. They intentionally have high gas prices. They intentionally have high food prices. They intentionally have a no bails bond and let the criminals out of prisons and jail. They intentionally create a race situation between the people. They're not working for us. They are creating problems to make you freak out. Have you noticed that? I can't think of one thing that the government is doing to make things better for Americans. Everything that they're doing is about themselves, and it's about money and self, money and perceived power. I realize clearly that everything is about making money for themselves and perceived power. The civil rights movement was about that. If you really smoke on it, think about the so-called civil rights movement, which was the worst thing, one of the worst things that happened to the blacks other than abortion. Think about the so-called civil rights movement. The only thing that they have gotten out of that, the only thing, is trouble. More conflict between the races in America. But the so-called civil rights leaders, they have gained money and positions in government, in the media, in the schools, and things like that. All for themselves. It's never been for the black or equality or anything like that. If you really, really look at it, the blacks, not all, but most stop thinking for themselves. They develop a group mentality, and then they're being used by their leaders to gain power. Well, they have not gotten better. And I have proof of that. The only reason that those black so-called leaders, the males and the females are not leaders. They don't have it in them. They're not created for that. But you're pretending that they're leading. If you really look at it, it's about money for themselves and power. They're living. That's what they wanted from the white man. They wanted to get in positions that white people had to make money, but they used the false idea of racism and sexism and all the isms in order to get there. They didn't earn it. They got there on false accusations and things like that. Our government is the same. And I got a secret for you. The dog situation is the same. When you turn on the TV, all you see now are commercials for dogs. And they show pitiful dogs. They show happy dogs, beautiful human beings, a happy human being with the dogs. And they making buku money off the dogs because human beings are in a fallen state. And they think that what they feel for the dog is what the dog is feeling for them. It's all about money. It ain't even about the dogs. It's about making money. It's a business. It's just like Valentine's Day, Christmas Day, Halloween. It's all about the money. But because human beings are in a fallen state, for those who have not overcome yet, they fall for it. They buy all these things. They put their dogs in whatever the media or the advertisement suggests. They go and buy it. Oh, buy a dog bed so you can sleep next to the dog. They go foolishly go buy it because they're emotional too, and they think that the dog is feeling what they're feeling, and the dog doesn't feel any of it at all, one iota. Fallen state people think dogs love them. The dog don't care two hoops of the holler. The dog is already computerized to do what dogs do. They ain't going to do any more or less. They tell you go buy a bulldog. The bulldog is fashionable. And they make them look tough on TV. And they make them look this way. And you run about an expensive bulldog. And you put clothes on them. Or a little poodle dog. Or a little feisty, skinny. It's all about the money, but because you're in a fallen state and your needs are false needs, you fall for it. And the more they see you falling for it, the more money they're making and with different ideas for the dog. And you got to overcome the fallen state. You're being played. The devil is playing you in your mind, and the devil is playing you in the minds of other people, and you're wasting your money and time for thrills. And the men are as bad as the women with it. The men, and I say that because the men are supposed to be leading. Look what has happened to the blacks. They have given up manhood, turned it over to their queen, the black female, and she's making a fool out of them. Absolute fool. And they call the woman strong, women of color. I'm a strong black woman, they say. That's a lie. That's a lie. It's just not true. It's a false reality. And the black men are so stupid, they say, my black queen, because the woman making them call them queen. That is when you wake up, you're going to be stunned, really. You're going to be driving down the road, and you're going to say, the more you realize, like, wow, I just didn't know. I just didn't know. They're playing on your emotions, and emotions are evil. Emotions are just thrills. There's no life in it. There's no salvation in it. In them, it's all an illusion. That's why they don't work. They tell you to take your dog to a dog doctor, and they call buku money, and you hustle up the money and take a dog to a doctor, whereas the dog can go out and eat grass and get well at no cost to you. Amazing. I want to give you an example of amazing and strong woman of color. Our government is not for you. They're using you to make money. These dog deals are using you to make money. These ideas that you need people to tell you how to raise your children is about money. It ain't about you. Egos cannot care for one another. It only cares for itself. A false care even in that. They now have false private clubs, at least in California, I'm told, Santa Monica, for dogs. And the foolish people spend all their money, go to the club, and let the stupid dog run around, and they get a thrill standing there looking at the dog running around, and they talk to each other how great their dogs are.
What the?
And then they feel good when they praise each other about their dogs. It's all for the thrill. Watch this so-called strong woman of color. This is from the Daily Mail. Cori Bush is under criminal investigation by the Department of Justice for allegedly misusing funds meant for private security. A watchdog has demanded the FEC investigate the $62,000 Cori Bush paid her now husband as a security guard from her campaign account. Watch this from CBS.
You faced some criticism in recent weeks over your push to defund the police. Campaign records show that you spent roughly $70,000 on private security, and some critics say that move is hypocritical.
They would rather I die. You would rather me die?
Is that what you want to see? Die?
You want to see me die? I have private security because my body is worth being on this planet right now. I have private security because the white supremacist, racist narrative that they drive into this country, the fact that they don't care that this black woman that has put her life on the line, they can't match my energy, first of all. I'm going to make sure I have security because I know I have had attempts on my life and I have too much work to do. There are too many people that need help right now. So suck it up, and defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police and put that money into social safety nets because we're trying to save lives. Do we pay police to be social workers? No, we don't.
What an evil, nasty female. It's all about her. Her body needs to be here. Nobody else's body needs to be around but hers. Defund the police. Leave your body wide open for the criminals. But she's so important in her own mind that her body needs to be around. See that? It's about her. Defund the police, but she gets spent, according to the report, $62,000. Paid to her now husband as a security job. And she needs to be around because she needs to get some social programs. It reminded me of the Wicked Witch of the West, Maxine Waters. She was speaking at a church in South Central LA once. And she got up, there were a bunch of black folks there as a black church. And they had like several so-called black speakers. And the Wicked Witch with the low IQ, Maxine Waters, said to the blacks, the Republicans, something like, I don't remember all the details now because it's been a while, something like, the Republicans want to tear down all the projects. And she named the different projects in the South Central LA area. They want to tear down all the projects. But I'm not going to let them do that. And not only am I not going to let them do that, I'm going to build more projects for you. And the blacks applauded in the name of Jesus. They were so happy, the men and the women. They're so happy that they're going to get some more projects. Free rent, free this and free that. While Maxine, live in, a $3 to $4 million home. It's all twisted. You need to wake up. You need to wake up, work on your life, and take total control of your own life and just live your life. These people are living their life, even though they're ripping you off to do it, according to this report. It's all about the money and perceived power. Look at mothers today who are married and they still go to work and don't have to. They go out and work. They don't care about the children. They pretend, they rally. They go to the PTA meeting when they hear a story about storybook reading or something like that. And they yell and they pretend they care, but they're unwilling to say, you know what? I ain't gonna go to work. I'm gonna stay home and raise my husband's children. It's the same thing. It's about self. And the kids grow up out of control, and they get on the internet and iPad and iPhone and all that kind of stuff. And then they blame it on the internet. They're blaming everything but the parents. They're not saying these selfish mothers need to stay home and raise the man's children and stop trying to get a thrill of working to make their egos stay alive. This evil Cori Bush is about Cori Bush. And she has all the buzzwords to keep herself there. Racism and white people, I'm a black woman, I'm this and that. And it made the white people afraid to say anything. And the blacks are not going to say anything because they think they're going to get something free, not realizing, according to this report, Cori Bush paid her husband $62,000, paid her own now husband as a security guard from her campaign account. And yet they want to defund the police. Post Millennial is reported Bush has spent $756,000. $756,000 on security since she was elected in 2020. And it has also been her largest expense. $756,000. Because her body need to be protected. Her body need to be here. She got to get some more social programs because the whites ain't going to get them. While your life at risk, we out shopping, walking around, or whatever you're doing. You ain't got no bodyguard. But her body is more important than yours because she got to get some social and she's needed. Defund the police. Fox is reporting that Cori Bush blamed right-wing watchdog group for DOJ probe. Watch this from Fox.
I hold myself, my campaign, and my position to the highest levels of integrity. I also believe in transparency, which is why I can confirm that the Department of Justice is reviewing my campaign spending on security services. I have endured relentless threats to my physical safety and life. In recent months, right-wing organizations have lodged baseless complaints against me. And I am under no illusion that these right-wing organizations will stop politicizing and pursuing efforts to attack me and the work that the people of St. Louis sent me to Congress to do.
What a mess. It's about her. What an evil, nasty, devil woman, female. She's blaming the white people, everybody. And she's going to continue to cry racism until they walk away, they leave her alone. Because the one thing that most whites, not all, but most white people are afraid of is the word racism. They are more afraid of racism than they are God himself. Amazing. Blaming it on everybody but herself. A black woman with braids. The government is doing nothing but creating problems. In the same way that you're creating problems in your own life. Because the same spirit that drives you to create problems in your life, it's the same spirit that's driving the government to do. It's the same thing to do what they're doing. Nothing but create problems. You should, if you haven't seen what's happening at the borders, you need to go down there. And the Democrats and the Republican representatives, most of them, the rhinos, the last thing they want is to shut down the borders. It brings money, cheap labor for those that will work. Did you see where in New York yesterday, according to the report, some illegal aliens jumped and beat up 2 police officers because the police officers, according to the report, were telling them to move on. They were standing around on the streets. And they're like, move on. They jumped the police, kicked them, knocked them down, whatever. Acting just like the blacks with the police. Amazing, huh? They're creating problems. Breitbart reported Breitbart.com last week, Biden promised to shut down the borders if a bipartisan border deal passes Congress. When Trump said the same thing, remember back in 2019? He was called racist and xenophobic. Watch this from C-SPAN.
Go ahead, Michael.
Back in the winter of 2018 and the spring of 2019, President Trump vowed to shut down the border with Mexico using almost the identical language that the president used on Friday. Many, if not most, if not practically all Democrats called that xenophobic and even racist. why shouldn't people make the same conclusion about this president's threat to shut down the entire border with Mexico?
So we believe the new enforcement tools that currently don't exist, that will be, we believe that will be part of this bipartisan agreement, will be fair. There are different definitions, right, of what that looks like, of what actually shutting down the border looks like, right?
So when the Great White Hope said it, oh, that's racism. That's racist. That's xenophobic. But when Biden said, well, we believe, blah, 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 blah. The government is working against you, not for you. You pay them to make the roads better, a strong military. The military is so weak, I can go out there and fight the war by myself and do better than what they're doing. Isn't that amazing? And look who's in charge of the military. He black. It's all about self. And it's unfortunately, but I understand it. I do understand it, because I've been there, that when we are in a fallen state, we can't see what's going on. It's weird how you cannot see what's really going on. You can't see what's driving you, and you can't see what's out there driving other people. And they make it emotional so that you'll fall for it. They work hard to either make you feel a fake happiness or a fake anger. And they got you when they can do that. But if you're not divided within yourself like that, they can't stop you. They can't get you. You want to be whole. You want to be one. And not all these false identities. So it was racist when the Great White Hope said it. But it's a different story now that Joe Biden said it. Did you hear that Joe Biden talking about going to Ohio now? All of a sudden, remember they had that train derail and all that. The chemical came out. And Joe Biden, that was a year ago, I believe. Joe Biden never showed up. All of a sudden, it's election time. And from what I hear, I don't know how true it is, he's talking about going there now. Come on, man! And they say that area where the derailment happened is mostly conservatives. It's like a red area. But now all of a sudden, Joe Biden going a year later. They helped Russia, what's the name of that country? That fight with Russia. Ukraine, they gave all our money to them, nothing to Ohio. Not a peep. And some of the voters going to fall for, oh, he went to Ohio. I'll vote for him. It's the Republicans' fault. Amazing. Trust no man. Trust no one. Anger is evil. And anyone that has anger is evil. And these people, they're smiling in your face while all the time they're trying to take your place. They're trying to take your place. An example, the liberal media come up and tell you one thing, but behind closed doors, they totally say another thing. They feel another way, and they say a different thing. An example of that is from the Washington Examiner. MSNBC host Joy Reid issued an apology on Monday night, shortly after saying on a hot mic that President Joe Biden is starting another effing war. I will play that when I come back. And then we'll take your phone calls and super chats. Amazing. It's wake up and live or stay asleep and die. Back in a moment. You can't run from evil within yourself or outside of self. You got to deal with it. And you need good in order to deal with evil. And God is good. You need to return to the Father. And you'll see within you, he will fight the battle for you. And he will fight it without, because he will show you how to deal with it. And you will have no fear. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your might, along with nothing else. Nothing else means yourself, your children, your wife, your things, your ego, your reputation, and all that. You can't care about any of that. The children of anger will use it to control you. But if you love God, he will renew your mind, and none of those things will be before him. And so when they go after you, oh, well, you may take my body, you may take my things, but you're not going to take my soul. And that's a true reality. Okay, welcome back. 888-7753-773. 888-77-JESSE. The beauty about life is that I know you're not going to believe this with your mind. And you might believe it for a minute with the intellect, but you can really live heaven on earth if you wanted to. But it has to happen through you as an individual. The kingdom of heaven is inside of you. And you got to start looking within at the not you. Turn your eyes to you. Take your eyes off everybody else and watch yourself. That's always going to work. It's not going to work any other way. You got to put your eyes on yourself. You got to throw down your stones, your rocks, and look in the mirror. Look at the man or the woman in the mirror. You got to watch the not you. And then you will see how blind you are, because you don't even know you're blind. You don't know it. You know life is not working for you. You know that you have fear. You know you have doubt. You know you look for love, but you don't think something's wrong with that. Or if you do think something's wrong with it, you get a thrill for it being wrong. And so you go out and create some more wrong. All for the thrill of it. It's a mess. It really is a mess. The Hake report is coming up at 9 a.m. this morning. From 9 to 11 a.m., the Hake, HAKE report.com. And then after the Hake report, Joel Friday TV. You black. Joel Friday TV from 11 to 12 Pacific time. And after Joel Friday TV, with energy given to him by God, the American Anchor Baby. The American Anchor Baby. Check out our merch. The American Anchor Baby at 12 noon Pacific time. But check out our merch at rebuildingtheman.com. Rebuildingtheman.com. Amazing stuff. We even have the t-shirt, No Such Thing as Racism is Bad. Let me show you how they're smiling in your face while all the time they want to take your place. They don't believe what they're telling you, but they're getting paid to say it, to lie to you. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Don't patronize. This is from the Washington Examiner. MSNBC host Joy Reid issued an apology on Monday, Monday night, shortly after saying on a hot mic that President Joe Biden is starting another effing war. Watch this from MSNBC.
Over the weekend, President Biden said he's ready to take action if Congress is serious about solving the border issue.
If that bill were the law today, I'd shut down the border right now and fix it quickly. And Congress needs to get it done.
Starting another war. Before we go, I just want to apologize very quickly. I was chatting during a clip that was playing, and, you know, we try to keep this show very PG-13, so I just want to apologize to anyone who was listening to my behind-the-scenes chatter. Deeply, deeply apologize for that, because, you know, it's PG-13 up around here. So thank you to you all for watching the Reid Out. And Inside with Jen Psaki starts out.
Amazing. Yeah, start another effing war. She said that behind with the thinking that the mic was turned off. That's how she really feel, but they say another thing when they on camera. And you fall for it. The government is not working for you. Government are creating problems for you. Because they have a hidden agenda. They are creating problems for you. And you hire them over and over and over again by voting for them, keeping them there because you can't see. It's all about the money. Everything is about the money when you're on an ego trip. They're not solving anything. And you're getting all these black people in government and in businesses. They just want what they think the white man has. They want money and perceived power. But they use this fake idea of civil rights. No such thing, right? But they use it. And you fall for it. You're the peasants. You're the peasants in their minds. According to Wikipedia, there was a woman by the name, a female by the name of Adrienne Jones. And Adrienne, is it Adrienne Shaw? Adrienne Jones has served as the Speaker of the Maryland House of Delegates since 2019. And this guy was trying to find out, what bill have you passed? What have you done? Watch this from X. This lady, not man, wanted to ask him, what bill? It's like, I ain't got time. I'm black. I ain't gonna do no work. What are you talking about? I don't know. I'm not qualified. I'm black, female. I don't know what, I don't know. I go. Ain't nobody got time for that. What's wrong with the blacks? I ain't got time to be asking no question. It's like the children, the black children, when they try to ask questions from mama. Mama ain't got time. Go sit down. I ain't got time for. Go sit down. These people are not qualified. They're just there because they're black. The military, same thing. The court, U.S. Supreme Court, they got a black woman there because she's black female, not because she's qualified. Air traffic control, they black, but not qualified. They changed the rules. May God have mercy on America. My country is never coming back. Laverne is a first-time call out of Oregon. I mean, Levon, not Laverne. Levon, welcome to the show.
Yes, man, I follow you a lot, man, and I feel what you're saying is right. And I as a African American is what they call us, but I'm just starting to call myself American. But when I look at the ghettos, when I listen to hip hop, and I see what black people is crying out is racism, and our music belittles us as American human beings so far, and you see women rolling down the street with kids bumping this nigga, kill black man, their own people, killing their own people in music. And it's allowed to little kids. I'm a music artist myself, but I never went mainstream. I've been in a studio. But, I mean, to see it's even in our music that we are at a fallen state, and we are the cause of the problem that these ghettos and these women wanting to have multiple babies by multiple different men. And it's like we are the cause of our problem.
Yeah.
And then they want to say the white man.
Yep, absolutely. What a mess.
Yeah, it's a huge mess, you know. And I'll tell you a story. I went into the Walgreens, and I'm trying to get my money. It's a woman already, so my stuff was running up. I had on like 3 coats. And I said, I'm trying to get the money out. Let me get the story straight. I said, well, just ring up her. He was like, nah, I can't do it. This dude was acting so weird, like a woman, though. He had, like, just weird issues. I said, well, look it, dude. He said, oh, I'm binary. I said, motherfucker, I'm here trying to get some tips. What the hell do that got to do with me and my chick purchase?
Don't curse.
I called him a dude. He said, and I believe the government, the women in the society, they support this to weaken us as human beings.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all it is. It's the devil in disguise saying, no, you guys need to hurt yourself by saying, I'm a man, saying I need to go into the woman's bathroom. All of this stuff is sick. I just was all this morning watching the girl, I'm sorry, I'm running my mouth. The girl that was defeated by the trans and swimming contest.
Yes.
It's just weird. It just popped up in my feed, and I'm like, wow, this is not of God. This is not of our human nature. This is the devil in office. And that's what I see in America. I see the devil has got it, because we need police. I miss the good old police, because I've been to all these prisons around here. I've been to federal prison, and the police used to scare me. I wouldn't do drugs in the open. I was scared. They would talk vicious. Bitch, come here. You better not run. That's what we need as a cop. Arrest them. Check them. If they're doing wrong, you know it's a law. You broke it. You need to take your ass and get locked up.
LeVar.
Yes.
We're on the radio, and a lot of kids are listening, so cut back on the cursing.
I'm sorry for that language, man, but I'm going to just talk chill back, man.
But I totally understand what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. And what would change it, LeVar, if men were to take back their position in life, because the women don't have real power at all. They have no power.
No.
The power is in the man, but the men, not understanding that their power has been taken away from them by their mothers, they have given it up. They don't lead the women in the right way to go anymore.
I agree.
They need the men back.
Yes, we do. And I believe what you're saying. And see, but this new rainbow party is out to destroy that.
Yeah.
And it's women that are wicked, that are not bisexual, but they're like, oh, yeah, I'm so mad that this one man probably broke my heart this one time. Yeah, they're weak. Well, let his son grow up and want to be a girl. Like, that's the evil of that woman that wants to say, yeah, I gay pride, but she's not gay. She's supporting it. Because she see the belittling of a human being up in it. It's not for her to go out and be gay. It's her to be like, yeah, now look at those weak men. We are strong women. No, you're not strong because you're agreeing to something that's against us as human beings. That's against the American country.
Yeah.
Because Africa, all these other countries are saying, well, don't support Americans. Look at that gay problem they got.
Yeah.
If you want to have sex how you want to, that's supposed to be in the bedroom.
Yeah.
I don't even kiss my woman in public. Oh, baby, let me get a kiss. Nobody needs to see that.
Absolutely, man. And in the good old days, it was private. They didn't put that stuff out there in the streets like that. But now that the men are not leading, the fathers are not head of their families anymore, and the women are taking over the governments and the schools and all that. Everything is just crazy, man. And it's only going to get worse if men don't wake up and change it.
Yeah, yes. You know, I'm not going to vote for the presidency. I've been studying into the government. It's a lot of FBI stuff going wrong. But Trump needs to be the top police of America.
Yes.
He needs to be the president. And if he doesn't win, and these gatekeepers stay where they're at in position, what you said, I've been listening to it, and it's been see, we need people like you, though, to be on the outskirts and speak up, because it's a man like me going to stay being a man and hear you. It's what I've been crying. Like, I can't see my kids because this bisexual lady that's the children of my kids is letting the daughter be gay at 12 years old. I can't get into the schools because that school system has taken out Jesus Christ statement, taken out the Lord, put the flag up in it that's red with all of that colors on it. But I see
That's amazing. And you're right.
Yeah.
This country do need Donald Trump. If ever we needed Donald Trump back, we need him now. He's the only one that's going to make the difference.
Hey, this is the thing. This racist stuff is wrong as hell they bring on. But when I rest easy in the presidency of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Bush, we had to go, but Obama was a fraud, and it needs to be out. And Trump was trying to warn us that.
Yeah.
And people didn't listen.
Yep. Amazing. Well, Lavon, just stay calm. Don't let him make you angry. And let God guide you, man. He'll guide you, and you'll have a major effect upon society. Because
yes, God bless you too, man.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna stay watching your show, and I thank you for being there for us Americans.
Right
and
on.
Racism statements need to. Black people are doing the most to black people. We're degrading each other.
Yes.
It's so much. Like the Cat Williams rant. You know, black people are shaming black people, and then say after they shame us, they point at, but we've been to slavery so long. Well, man, you slaving us in your rant and your music and hip-hop style and all this boastfulness about how you're better than the next black man.
Amazing. You're right, man. What a mess. Thank you, Lavon. Call me again.
Yeah, yes, and thank you for letting me talk to you. I get to see this great star. I feel you're a star because my issues in life, I can hear you speaking up for them.
Right on. Right on. Well, I'm glad you're out there, man, and stay with it.
Yes, you enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Amazing. See, there are people waking up. There are some people waking up. Only a few, but one is 1,000 to God. 1,000. Super chat. Super
chats. Someone bought a coffee answering the biblical question.
Are you afraid you're not going to make it?
Being afraid I was not going to make it was one of my biggest fears. I was afraid I was not going to make it, and I believed that God was going to judge me based on my ability to, quote-unquote, make it.
Amazing. Thank you for responding. And again, I put my 2 cents in on Sunday. I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Pink bought a coffee. Jesse has been on fire lately.
He's on fire.
I was reading the comments on his Your Mom's House appearance from the mostly beta liberal audience. It looks like Jesse's message is going to reach a lot of people through his show. He has Tom Segura rolling, laughing face emoji, and Christina P. looking at herself like, what the? P.S. Did you see the details of the allegations against Vince McMahon, the WWE creator, pro wrestling guy? This is what happens to friends of the Great White Hope. Holy, what the?
Amazing. I had fun on that show, and they treated us well. It was fun. So thank you very much.
White Lion NYC bought a coffee saying Trump is a Jesuit and a Freemason. The little hats call him their king. I guess the people in Israel, that's what he means. He has stated, depending on results of the court cases, he may move to Israel to be the king. He works for Satan and his chosen people.
That person deep into their imagination. Come out of your thoughts. Wow. And stop hating. Have love. Oh, man, you like deep into thought. You got to stop moving to Israel.
White Lion.
Thank you, though.
He bought another cup of coffee saying the only great hopes are God and his son Jesus.
What does that mean?
The only great hopes are God and his son Jesus?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I don't know.
What does that mean? Come out of your head. What the? But thank you.
He also gave a nice latte for Mr. Bill Lockwood. Thank you, sir. Buying 3 coffees.
Bill Lockwood is one of the smartest white men on this side of heaven. Check him out. He was here yesterday, the last Tuesday of every month, right? BillLockwood.com.
No. It was never BillLockwood.com. You can support him by going to American Liberty with BillLockwood.com.
I knew it was BillLockwood.com.
No, it's not. It's American Liberty with BillLockwood.com.
Oh, okay.
Amazing.
You black.
That's how you can support him.
You black.
And Patriotic Pulpit on Spotify and Bible Studies with Bill Lockwood.
Right on.
YouTube. Aries Sun. Huh?
What was it?
Bible Studies with Bill Lockwood on YouTube.
And Patriotic.
Patriotic Pulpit
on
Spotify.
You so smart, Hake.
Thank you.
You all white.
It's just a memory. Aries.
That's why you white. Black people can't remember all that.
Yeah.
That woman couldn't even remember what bill she passed. He like, I ain't got time.
That's how I would be, though. She was literally walking backwards to this reporter. An old lady, not that old, but sort of old lady, walking backwards.
That woman like, I don't do no work. What are you talking about? I'm just keeping this body on earth.
Aries Sun bought 5 coffees. Only place we got to make it to is out of our hell. Tell Jesse to say Chimney, all caps. Chimney.
Chimney.
Nice. Good work.
Well, I say chimney, huh?
Yeah.
I grew up saying chimney. Did you know that some black people don't have a chimney?
According to Tony from California,
right, Tony,
no black does.
That means Tony either don't have a house or he definitely doesn't have a chimney. A chimney. Chimney.
Nice. White Lion bought a coffee. The military-age men crossing the border are a combination of blue helmets and CIA or CIA-sponsored domestic terrorism. Trump is choosing a woman. The front runner is Elise Stefanik.
How do you know that?
I don't know.
How you know that? Let me know how you know. Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.
Take a break. 2 more hours to go. When I come back, your phone calls and super chats. Now, I totally disagree with the way things are going, but you can't be angry because that's what the enemy wants. He wants to control you. They do things to make you mad so they can control you. It's like being married. And the wife would do things to make you mad, or she'll do things to make you feel good. And men do that to women too when they want something from the woman, especially sex. They'll make her feel good or they'll make her angry. And the woman's gonna have to say, you don't want to be angry. You want to speak up. You want to disagree with what's going on. It's wrong, but do not be angry. Then you won't have fear. You won't have doubt. You won't have worries. You'll be able to see, but you got to stay away from anger. That's why you must forgive your mothers and your fathers so that you can overcome the spirit of anger. It's a spirit and it's wicked. Nothing good in anger because it has no love, folks. You need love to defeat evil. And love is not a weakness. It's a strength. It's from God. It's His nature.
A whole lot of mess going on in the world. This is the end of hour 1 of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. It's Wednesday, the 31st of January, AD 2024. Tomorrow is the 1st of February, and it's the first Thursday of the month, and that means Men's Forum, guys. Men's forums are first Thursday of the month, 7 p.m. at Bond in Los Angeles. So you can go to rebuildingtheman.com/events if you need more info to join us here in person only, not recorded, not streamed, at Bond in Los Angeles. rebuildingtheman.com/events. Or you can call 1-800-411-BOND, 1-800-411-2663 if you need info from the office here. Leave a message if the office is not open yet. The rent is too darn high. I disavow. The far left commie nonsense network CNN reports rent is unaffordable for over half of so-called U.S. tenants, following years of surging prices. However, many pro-immigration analysts, I'm speculating, are optimistic about the increase of the construction of multiple unit buildings and apartments, that will soon help boost the supply of attainable housing, which is a communist buzzword. Think Agenda 21. Check out JLP's video from May of 2018, Agenda 21. Socialist globalist UN plan to control you. It was an interview with JLP's friend, American Freedom Alliance lady, Ms. Michael Greer, Greer. That's on YouTube, and it's probably on BitChute, and maybe even on Rumble. So check that out. Speaking of invasion, the border situation, the far left females at the Skim report, the rift between Texas and the evil Biden administration over the southern border is growing. Immigration at the U.S.-Mexico border has been surging. Invasion, by the way. Illegal immigration. Illegal crossings. Been surging for years. In the 2023 fiscal year, there were a record more than 2.4 million border apprehension cases. Compare that to less than 500,000 in the 2014 fiscal year under the Obama administration. And that might have been around the time of which is still way high, 500,000. That might have been around the time of those unaccompanied alien children, UACs, so-called children. Many migrants are fleeing war, supposedly, so-called migrants, illegals, supposed cartel violence, some of them are cartels, perhaps, and so-called environmental disasters. This is the far-left females at the Skim. Some reports found the uptick also tied to a growing network of smugglers. And also, they don't mention this, but these so-called NGOs who are pushing the invasion into these white countries. Some reports found the uptick is also tied... Oh, no, I already mentioned that. In response, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, the rhino, I call him a rhino, has taken the matter into his own hands, setting up a standoff with the evil, crooked Biden administration. Texas put up razor wire and buoys, I don't know how to pronounce it. I think both are correct. I could be wrong. Along the Rio Grande River, to deter illegals from crossing. They call them migrants because they're communists. Greg Abbott also sent illegals to Democrat-led cities, sanctuary cities, where they welcome the illegals, and signed a law allowing state officials to arrest illegal aliens. They call them undocumented immigrants. They're fraudulently documented. It's led the Biden administration to take Texas to court. Last week, the Supreme Court told Texas they have to take down the razor wire, which Texas said that they will not do. So far, 25 Republican governors are backing Greg Abbott with the border standoff with Biden. Right on. Good for them, I think. Meanwhile, the immigration fight has spilled over into Congress. A bipartisan, which usually means evil, House committee voted to move forward with both articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, not a Christian. They accuse him of mishandling the border and making false statements to Congress. We'll see what happens with that. First cabinet member to be impeached in nearly 150 years if they do it. I'm James Hake. Now back to Jesse.
To stand up strong, face the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up. In the rapper world today.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the second hour of the show already. Manhood Hour is coming up in the third hour, next hour. Every Wednesday, third hour, Manhood Hour. You can get involved by calling 888-7753-773, 888-77-JESSE. My biblical question for this week: are you afraid you're not going to make it? Are you afraid you are not going to make it? We have every way to watch and support the show listed on jesseleepeterson.com/show. And if you're busy and can't watch it, you podcast later, you can also be listening to the show on your iPhone or iPad by calling the listen line at 641-793-1500. 641-793-1500. And to donate and have your comment read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com. buymeacoffee.com or rebuildingtheman.com. All right, and like, follow, do all the social media stuff. 888-77-53773. I have a guest coming up in a minute here. I want to go to Theo, our first time call out of Texas, while we're getting the guests into the studio. Watch that wire. Theo.
How you doing, Jesse?
All this well. So thank you for calling.
I'm glad to be here. I'm honestly, I'm a pretty medium-sized fan. I have to say I've been watching since, I don't know, middle school. I'm a 20-year-old now, so it's been a nice little bit of time, but I've been able to grow up and really just be able to analyze the world around me. And I just have to say, if you're a minister, I don't know, I have to question the rhetoric that you use a lot against, black people. And I got to say, I agree with the fact that you, especially people like Charleston White, are giving black people the accountability that they need.
Right.
But then you don't follow up with the rhetoric that's going to be more or less productive, especially when you're a minister. I would imagine you'd have more productive things to say.
Like what? Give me an example, and I appreciate it too. Give me an example. A productive thing you think I should say?
A productive thing? I'm not going to sit in here and act like I'm smarter than I am. Especially, that's why I called. You know what I mean?
Right, I do. And go ahead.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
You're about to give me an example of what you mean by a productive thing.
Well, for starters, I see you've taken the fault, like when it comes to, let's talk about slavery and just talk about systemic racism, something that people don't like talking about. I'm going to jump a bit, but there's a point here. So slavery ends and black people are then fighting for civil rights. I've heard you say that the civil rights movement was useless, next to useless.
Yes.
And it didn't need to happen. But why would you say that when it was a very big part of our history, and it's still a part of our history in different ways right now? I'd say it's even very closely related to what we have going on at the border situation. This anti-black agenda turns into an anti anything that's not white agenda. You know what? Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. But the one thing you don't realize is that the whole civil rights movement, and no such thing as civil rights anyway, but the whole civil rights movement was a setup, and it was done by Martin Luther King and Jesse Jackson and all those guys because they wanted to take control of the hearts and minds of the blacks so that they can gain power and so-called positions for themselves. And they got wealthy behind it. Their children got wealthy. They live in amazing areas. And the blacks are still fighting.
So is it wrong? No, I see what you're saying right there. So the black people got left behind in the wake of their quote-unquote success. But Martin Luther King was shot in the neck, wasn't he?
But that don't mean anything. It didn't help the blacks.
You said it don't mean anything, but they assassinated him. And apparently it was nobody who assassinated him.
But my whole point is that prior to the so-called civil rights movement, black people were individual thinkers. They didn't think in group. They went into the blackness and all that kind of stuff.
I see what you're saying.
I see what you're saying. They were into buying land. They were into family. They started businesses, and their head at that time
sure
was
that
God.
Those who could did. I'm sure that those who could did.
That's going to always be that way.
I'm sure that there were people being bullied by the bullies of their time, naturally.
But they're always that way. You're going to have the good and the bad.
It's always that way, but you know that there's always a solution to that. You know what right looks like, especially if you believe in the gospel. Racism has never been okay.
There's no such thing as racism.
You know what I noticed?
Theo.
Yeah.
Theo.
What's going on?
There's no such thing as racism. That's another made-up lie in an attempt to control.
It's a construct that is still being used for the past 400 years.
But it's
a lie that has been able to be applicable to people's lives in many groups.
It's been used by blacks in order to keep them down, to keep them angry.
You said it's been used by blacks? I say it's been used by whites and blacks in power to keep.
Who do you hear talk about racism the most? Black people or white people?
Both of them.
Who talk about
more white people than black people?
Who talk about it?
White people naturally going to talk about it, and that's all they talk about it.
I got to run only because I have a guest. Will you call me again?
I will call you again.
All right, buddy. It's good to hear from you. All right.
Good to hear from you, Jesse.
Okay. Amazing. I have a guest here, and I'm going to get to your calls and your super chats as well. There's a line open at 888-77-53773, all the way from Australia.
Amazing.
Julius from Rattlesnake TV. He is he was on the Father's Day. I had him on the Father's Day. It was an amazing discussion that we had. So Julius is in L.A., so we have him on the Destiny Peterson radio show today. He is originally from Australia. He is a vibrant content creator.
Yes, sir.
Known for his fearless exploration of controversial subject. Exploration of controversial subject. Thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah. What are you doing in the United States and LA, all the way from Australia?
I'm based in Mexico for the last month, but I'm in LA because I was coming to do your show and also the Whatever podcast. Have you seen the Whatever podcast?
No.
So it's basically where they get a bunch of girls around the table and then one or two guys.
Oh.
And all of the girls are like OnlyFans creators and then we have a discussion, and last night was entertaining. For sure.
Amazing. How do you like the USA?
You know what? I didn't really like LA the first one or two times I came here because I was staying in more the downtown area. And like I travel the world a lot, and the most unsafe that I've ever felt, or like the most sketchy that I've ever felt, was when I was in downtown LA.
Yeah.
And I've traveled around Eastern Europe. I've traveled around many different places that are quite dangerous, a lot around Asia. I'd say Latin America and then downtown LA are the most unsafe.
Amazing. LA, when I first moved here in 1968, was really a beautiful area.
Mm.
It was amazing. And I never imagined it can turn into what it is now.
I mean, there are still beautiful parts of it. And I stay in the San Fernando Valley now. I don't mind that. And then you go up north, Santa Barbara.
Right.
But I do love the United States because it's absolutely vibrant and electric. There's great culture here, but there are a few bad eggs, unfortunately.
How is it? Oh, they need you to sit up here.
Oh, yeah.
Sean, come and tell him. I was wondering why you look so low. on the screen. You see yourself up there?
Sorry, I was chilling.
He was chilling.
I was chilling too much. My bad.
What's the difference in L.A., I mean, the United States, from what you've seen of it, and Australia?
Well, Australia is much bigger, and we have a much smaller population. So the cities are much more like spread out. And also, I think that Australia, in terms of politics, is much more apathetic. We don't really tend to get hit. We didn't get really hit by the global financial crisis. We don't really suffer. We haven't really had any major wars for freedom in the last 100 years or so.
Right on.
Yeah, we're much more apathetic with politics, whereas Americans, you guys really wear your heart on your sleeve like that.
Yeah.
That's what I like about you guys.
Do they still have those little black people living in the woods in Australia?
Not in the woods, but in the desert. In the desert, it's a little bit different.
They live in the desert?
Yeah. So
that's why they're so black?
I think it's more something to do with that. But if you go in the middle of Australia, you've got the Simpson Desert, which is just this enormous desert, and then you've got the Stuart Highway, which runs right through the center of the desert, and it'll take you one day to drive from one township to another, and these people have no hospitals near them, and it's
really
not where you'd want to live, Jesse. I'll tell you what.
Do they blame the white people there for their condition?
I think that the people who blame the white people at the loudest are the ones whose grandma's mother's goldfish's cat was black, and they're not actually black themselves, and they tend to be the ones who are the activists in the street who are sort of trying to claim some sort of victim narrative. When if you wanted to really look at the problem, it would be a lot deeper and darker and more confronting truths.
One other thing about do they live in huts or houses?
They live in houses, but they're pretty shoddy. Like the conditions out there are pretty nasty.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we call it the tyranny of distance, which means that if you live in one of these townships and you have no access to medical facilities, for example, it's so far away, and if you have to drive a day or two to get to your community, then it's much harder to build any sort of meaningful infrastructure. And also, these people, they were a Paleolithic culture when Australia was colonized by the British, so they don't have the same sort of desire or necessity for it.
Yeah.
They get big checks, for example, sometimes from big mining companies and oil companies or whatever, or big natural resources companies, because it's their land. It's hard to explain, but then they'll get big checks from these people, and then there's a whole industry of guys who go and sell Toyota Hiluxes, old Toyota Hiluxes. They'll drive them from different states up to the north, and then these guys will buy them, and what they'll do is they'll just fill their car up with alcohol, fill the car up head to toe with alcohol.
Do they take that money and get drunk?
And then they'll go what they call out bush, and they'll take the car out bush, and they'll just thrash the car for months and just get drunk. So
wow,
yeah,
they're called, what are they called?
Aboriginals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with the blacks that all over the world where they dwell and supposed to be in charge of their own life, they can't seem to get it together? What's wrong with the blacks?
I'm not sure. It's hard to answer the question when you say that, because they're such different cultures. If you ask me what the problems are with the indigenous Australian culture, I could answer you that, and then I could answer you separately different cultures, but the blacks is a hard one.
Okay. So listen, last time I had you on the Fallen State, very interesting discussion. Did you ever go and forgive your mother?
Yes.
You did?
Yep.
Whoa!
Told her and everything.
What made you decide to go and forgive her? Because when I was talking to you about it, you didn't know if you resented her or not.
Well, I do. I love my mother, and she was a great mother, and she got me through some very, very difficult times. But I let her know that she's forgiven, and that was that.
What did she say?
She said, "Thank you."
What a mess!
Yeah.
Amazing. And so do you deal with women differently now that you've dealt with your mother?
I'd say that I was already pretty okay at dealing with women, but through trial and error and through having times where I didn't deal with women the right way, and then you learn pretty hard lessons, and then you realize that Satan is their daddy at the end of the day, and then you realize that you have to be careful, you know.
So now that you have forgiven your mother, you still have anger, or have you let it go?
I'd say that as I've gotten closer to God and as I've leaned more into faith, my anger has subsided a lot more.
Right on.
And it was something that I did struggle with in my teenage years in a pretty big way. But I'm a much more calm and peaceful person as I've leaned further into faith and trusted in God a little bit and submitted to God a little bit more and to His will.
Right on, man.
So,
are you doing the silent prayer? Did you get that a chance?
I haven't given. I'm kicking myself that I haven't given it a chance yet because I do remember you said that, but I will next time. For
All
sure.
right. Amazing.
Yeah.
So, do you know what a riz is?
Riz, it's like a short way of saying charisma. If you riz someone up, yeah?
I'm learning about this.
Oh, so you want me to tell you?
Yeah,
Okay. So
they've been telling me
riz
about
is
it.
what the kids say for charisma. So if you walk up to a few ladies and you want to sort of, strike up a conversation, you'd want to have a little bit of riz, because otherwise the ladies will just say no thank you.
Do you have riz?
I would say that at times I've been known to have a little bit of riz.
And why did they take out? Why did they take the riz from the charisma?
This is what the kids do, Jesse. They'll take things and they'll shorten them and sweeten them and make little trends out of it on TikTok. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why they shortened it.
I bet you
Charisma was
most of
good for
them
me.
can't even spell charisma.
I would say so. These TikTok kids can't do much.
I know. What a shame, huh?
I know.
What's important to you?
My family is most important for me, and my mission, what I'm trying to achieve in life, and God would be the three things that are probably the most important.
And so you say your family, meaning you're not married with kids, right?
Not yet.
And so when you say your family, who are you referring to?
My brothers and my mum.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And why are they important to you?
Well, because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, I know that they've got my back. And I think you learn in life through having friends and relationships and business relationships and jobs that people are very come and go and people are very fleeting. And you have to know who are the people that have really got your back at the end of the day. And my family are those people for me. And yeah, that's why they're important.
And you say that God is important to you too?
Yeah.
And how do you know God is important to you?
Well, I would say because as I've started to develop a more of a relationship with God and read Scripture a little bit more and lean into Christianity a little bit more, that things have gotten exponentially better for me in my life. So that relationship that I've built with God has been important in terms of my own salvation and my own happiness and peacefulness. And it's pretty much when I'm not working or when I'm not talking to family, it's all I really think about. It's all I ponder. So
right on.
Yeah.
And so in Australia, is Christianity a big deal?
No, I was raised in a totally atheist, secular society. So
really,
yeah. Unfortunately, I went to Catholic school, but I never took it seriously, and it took me until I was about 25 to start actually looking into it seriously and to start looking around and observing the evil in the world that I was seeing around me, and then thinking that there has to be an opposite. And then looking into God, looking into Christianity, looking into the life of Christ, and realizing that there is an opposite and that the good news is real.
Yeah.
And yeah.
What is it like living growing up in an atheist society? With no mention of God, no God or anything, right?
Yeah, I think.
What's that like?
I could honestly talk for days about it, but last night I saw a really, really good example of it. So I was on this Whatever podcast, which, by the way, Jesse, if I lined up an appearance for you on the Whatever podcast, would you do it?
Yes.
It's in Santa Barbara.
Oh, okay.
Because you would be amazing on that show, just talking to all these young ladies and showing them the way. So last night I was talking to a bunch of young ladies, and look, it's not even their fault that they think this way, but they're raised in such a secular society that they were speaking to me and preaching to me that California is such a great place because I can get an abortion. And I wanted to say, it was towards the end, it was after a 5-hour podcast, and I was a bit tired, so I wanted to get out of there. I didn't say much, and then they were feminists, and we presented them with facts and logic for hours, telling them why feminism is actually an evil, satanic practice and why it's actually bullshit. You're not oppressed, et cetera, et cetera. But they just wouldn't accept it. And then I was trying to explain to them the natural order of the world, how it's God over man, man over woman, God over man, man over woman, woman over child, and giving them logic, and it was just falling so flat on them. And I just thought to them, this is the product of an atheist society, and this is the ever expanding demon of liberalism and of freedom.
Yeah.
That people just expand endlessly, and then eventually it infects your children, and it's one of those ideologies that you have to nip in the bud, and it has to be shackled to something. And if it's not shackled to God, if it's not chained to natural laws, and if it's not chained to objective morality, then it will just keep expanding. And I saw so that's what happens in an atheist society, is that these things just keep expanding until it gets popped.
I can't imagine growing up in an atheist society. You know, that's what is that like? You know, like what rules do you follow if you're not following the rules of God in the heart?
Well, you don't really, because the idea of freedom is taken so seriously, and like I like liberty in the sense that like I like to be able to not take a certain thing if I don't want to take that certain thing.
Yes.
And I like that idea of liberty. I like the ability to be able to bear arms. I like the idea of self-actualization to an extent.
Absolutely.
But liberty, Søren Kierkegaard, Danish philosopher, has this idea of freedom is anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. So freedom is such, like I said before, such an ever-expanding thing that if it's not shackled to something, then it just keeps on expanding. And that's the problem with these atheist societies, is that it's freedom over everything, freedom über alles, and they don't have any idea of objectivity. And if you try and tell them something objective, like that something's objectively beautiful, or if you try and tell them that there is an objective order of the world, then they just reject it, because that goes against their ideas of freedom.
Yeah,
so,
that makes sense. Abortion is not freedom. They think because they can have an abortion, that's freedom. That's not freedom. Yeah. Because the women who are killing the men, children in the womb, they're not free within themselves. They're not happy. They're miserable.
It's funny they talk about bodily autonomy, but if you look at an abortion, what it is it's killing a life, because life starts at conception. And that life doesn't have bodily autonomy.
Right.
So if you want to stand there and say, my body, my choice, well, this is something that has separate DNA to you.
That's right. Did any of the girls did any of them catch on to what you were saying on that show?
It's this strange thing that happens where you say something that's logical, and then they'll take... So I was saying to them, my idea of a good union between man and woman is that the man is the provider and that the woman is the nurturer.
Yeah.
So I want my wife one day to be able to nurture my children, and that's number one. I'm not going to be sending them off to a daycare where they're going to have rainbow flags in their little daycare. That's not happening.
That's right.
And then they interpreted that as that women are oppressed and chained to the oven. And I said, no, actually, this is your mind has been poisoned by these ideologies. And there are many, 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 many women out there who would actually love to hear that, and who would hear that sort of rhetoric from a man and would think that's a strong leader. But you guys are thinking that, I'm taking away your working hours. When you receive a little baby in your arms, you're going to want to care for that thing, and your husband is going to want to go out and provide for that thing. Yeah. And that's the natural order. Every single fiber of your being is inclined towards that way. But it fell on deaf ears, Jesse.
What a mess. You see my concept?
What is it?
That's when I used to pick cotton.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is cool.
You never picked cotton before?
No. Does that make you a victim?
No, it made me a cotton picker.
Is that a little like action figure of you down there?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing. Hassan made that.
Oh, really?
That guy right there.
Oh, fantastic. I'd love one of them. I put it in my studio, a little Jesse Lee Peterson action figure. Amazing.
Yeah, Hassan did that.
Did you ever sing songs while you were picking cotton?
Yes.
Like the Midnight Special. Shine a light on me.
I used to sing Some Glad Morning When This Life is Over.
Very nice.
So I got to ask, what do you think about, what's your opinion on public display of affection?
I'm against public display of affection in my own relationships.
Yeah.
And I'm actually virulently anti-public affection when it comes to kissing and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Literally 2 nights ago, my brother and I were at a restaurant, and this couple was just eating each other's faces the entire time that we were there, and it's the most disgusting, repulsive thing. I don't know how you can sit there while other people are trying to eat and drink and be eating each other's faces off.
They do it for the thrill of it, because when they're doing it in the public, they look around to make sure other people are looking at them, and they get a thrill from it. It's like an ego feeling like, oh, they're in love or something, you know. They get a thrill from it. That's why they do it.
I think it's a thrill, but it's also just being drunk on your own fumes.
Absolutely.
Because you think I'm in love and the world needs to stop because I now found someone that I'm in love with, and look at me being in love.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Do we have that picture, Hassan, of Tim Scott proposing?
Tim Scott.
You know who Tim Scott is?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. He
He's
just got engaged, hey?
Yeah.
I heard that.
Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
I want your opinion of this. Let us see it, Hassan. Oh, let me know when you get it.
Yeah.
He was on his knees proposing, and not only it was disgusting to see a man on his knees so weak like that.
So you don't like the idea of a man getting on a knee to propose?
It's not supposed to. You're not supposed to bow down to any human being.
Right.
And he bowing down to this woman, begging her to marry him, and she's going to keep him on his knees.
You know what's funny? I've actually never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
I've never thought about the submissive position that getting on your knee is.
The man's supposed to be bringing the woman into his world.
Yeah.
But when you're bowing down on your knees, you're going into her hell. And that's all you're going to ever catch in the marriage is hell.
You're just going to catch hell the whole time.
The whole time. Because he started out weak.
Yeah.
And not only that, this woman had been married before, according to the report, married before with children.
No, Tim Scott.
Yeah.
My man was running for president. He can't do better.
I was so happy when he got out of that race because he's a mama's boy.
Yeah. He was saying that during the GOP debate. Was he saying, mama?
Right.
He kept saying it.
Everything about mama.
Yeah.
My mama's here. Me and my mama and my brother grew up in a 1-bedroom house. Everything. I'm like, Lord, please don't let this guy get in.
Yeah, he was playing to it a little bit, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, man. It was a mess. But I wanted to know, so what do you think about men kneeling to ask a woman to marry him?
Well, until just then, I'd never thought about it before.
Really?
I'd never thought about the actual act of kneeling, but it's a good point. I mean, is there some sort of like a biblical reference to what a man's meant to do when he asks a woman to marry? I know you're meant to see the father, you're meant to maybe propose some sort of a gift. What is it? What is the actual
when a man,
reference?
If everything was normal the way it should be, he would go to the father, her father, and say, hey, I want to marry your daughter. And then he would just, because the father is supposed to hand the daughter off to her husband, right? Because of the order of God. And so once he does that, he would just go and tell the woman, hey, we're getting married, you know. Come on.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, actually, to be honest with you, like not just because you said that, but that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's more important to get the father's approval first.
Absolutely.
And then once you've gotten the father's approval, then
you go
come on.
Marry him. Because he's past her. Did we find it? No, yeah. Oh, there it is. Look at that.
Gonna make little caramel babies.
Oh, a mess.
Yeah.
And he wanted to be the president. Are you able to, I know you were here for 30 minutes. Can you stay a little longer?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I got no plans, man.
All right.
Let's go.
Let me take a break. 888-7753-773. Back in a moment. We have a counseling service, and I have to admit, thanks to God, it is the best counseling service on this side of heaven. I counsel with men and women, families, individuals around the world. Most people are unhappy, they're miserable, They have rough lives. They're depressed, suicidal, young and old, of all races. I understand, I know why, and I do understand it. Because exactly what's happening in me is happening with everybody outside of me, inside of them. And I've noticed that with those who really, really, really want to understand, they overcome it just like that, out of one counseling session. If you need counseling, you can go to rebuildingaman.com or call 800-411-2663. 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven. Yeah, Mr. President, take this home. Home. The wall going up. The wall going up. It's long overdue. The wall going up. 30-foot wall. The wall going up. The wall going up. At the border, I'm stunned. Hey, you didn't know I could rap, huh?
No, we talked about Riz. You got it, Jesse. You got it.
The wall going up. Amazing. I'm talking to Jake Julius here from Rattlesnake TV. Tell us how you came about with, how did that all happen for you? Rattlesnake TV.
Okay.
What do you do exactly?
So, Rattlesnake is my boxing fighting name, Jake Rattlesnake. So there's no sort of... I'm thinking about even changing it at some point, to be honest, Jesse, because I don't want to have a snake in my name for much longer. But so I used to do a fighting podcast, which was boxing, MMA. This went for a few years, did about 100 episodes or so. And then I moved into more of the sort of political space during COVID, doing a bit of activism work when people were trying to make me do things that I didn't necessarily want to do, which we can't really say a lot of the time. But once that happened, then I moved into the activism work. And like I said, when I was about 25, which is about 3 years ago, started looking into, Christ a little bit more, started looking into scripture a little bit more, and also started looking into the evils of the world. So that was what you might call like a red pilling experience for me.
Right on.
And then as that went on, that sort of faded out, had a little bit of a thing going on there. And then I started Rattlesnake TV in October of 2022. And I had a video, and mind you, I'd been doing podcasts for years at this stage, but never earned a penny from it. And then I had a video just go really viral and found my lane a little bit and just kept on talking about the issues that I wanted to talk about, and people liked it, and now here I am in the fallen state.
I know. Amazing. I saw one of your videos where you were, I guess here, I think you were in this country, and you were going around asking people about racism.
Mm-hmm.
What did you learn or realize from that?
It affirmed what I already knew, which is that America, especially LA, where if you walk around Santa Monica Pier, where I was that day,
right,
it is what if you were a real utopian, it's what you'd define as like the melting pot, which was that people from all different races are able to sort of coexist together and not kill each other most of the time. But and then I was interviewing people and asking them if they think that America's racist. Every single one of them said yes. And it was just this amazing sort of like juxtaposition between reality and what people think.
Yeah, but I saw that.
Yeah, because they're all saying, yeah, no, I'm oppressed. And then one of the young ladies I interviewed, I was saying, so she was saying to me, yeah, I never really thought about racism when my parents never really thought about racism either. And then I learnt it in school. Yeah. And I was trying to sort of subtly reinforce to her by saying, so you're telling me that you learnt racism in school. Before that, you never thought about it. She goes, yeah. And the penny just didn't drop.
Right.
So it was odd. That's for sure.
Another video I saw of yours, where you were critiquing this one, Jordan Peterson
and Michael Eric Dyson
and the other guy that was with Jordan. What was his name?
Stephen Fry.
Yeah, Stephen Fry. We played that here, by the way.
Mm.
I have debated Michael Dyson before, and I noticed that he used big words, as you said in the video, and he speaks really fast, so you don't know that he doesn't know what he's talking about. But I really appreciated the way Jordan Peterson and that guy handled Michael. What did you think about that video? You explained it well, by the way. It was perfect.
Oh, thank you. Well, Michael Eric Dyson's a snake oil salesman, and he's just a sophistrist. So he just uses sophistry to try and actually obfuscate the bullshit that is coming out of his mouth.
Right.
And Candace Owens, I think, said it perfectly. If you've ever seen him debate Candace Owens, Candace Owens just says, you're just using big words. You're saying big words. You're not saying anything. Say something of substance. And it's a typical intellectual, somebody who tries to make very simple ideas, very complicated. Right. And sort of, he's like we said before, drunk on the own fumes. He's drunk on his own fumes because he's using all these big words and he thinks that people are in awe of him. When if you actually analyze what he's saying, it's just a load of doo-doo.
Mess. I like the way that Jordan Peterson, I'm sorry, tell me the other guy's name again.
Stephen Fry.
And Stephen Fry dealt with him. They were not afraid of speaking up to him. They were not afraid of the word racism, because Michael kept implying that white people this and white people that and racist. But they didn't give into that at all. And I really like seeing that.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that too, because they were quite subtle about it. But I like people who are even more forward in calling it out and saying that it's you're actually the racist. If you want to keep on implying that, if you want to see everything through the prism of race, then this is your problem. It's not really something that I'm dealing with. I'm trying to deal with the issues on a fact basis. I'm trying to deal with them at face value.
Yeah.
But
have you heard of Race to Dinner?
Yes, I've seen some parts of it.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Let's play Race to Dinner, a little soundbite, and I want you to react to it. This is from movie maker Race to Dinner. It's a business in which white women pay to have dinner with Regina Jackson and Sarah Rowe, who offer blunt talk about race. Watch this movie maker.
So I want a show of hands of everyone at this table who is racist.
Oh my God. For me, race has never really been a thing.
I've always thought of myself as being kind of woke.
I'm blinded to color. It doesn't faze me at all. When we bleed red.
Because he was a white male, he was a victim of reverse racism.
I understand you have issues with a skin color, but I don't believe that's our future.
Let me ask you a question. How many of you would trade places with a black person in this society? Raise your hand.
What do you think about that?
I actually have a little bit of a theory about this. I want to know what you think about it. So when I see this and this whole anti-racist movement, what I see is people trying to come to terms with the fact that they are broken and fallen creatures and that they're beyond repair. And I think that this is an internal yearning that we all have as human beings.
Yes.
To accept the fact that we're broken and beyond repair. But they're rebels to God. And instead of admitting that we're all fallen and we're all broken, we all need to submit to God and we all need to accept the grace of Jesus, they instead will try and idolize black people. And they'll say that this is the white people are the ones who are fallen and this is our idol. But I think that internal yearning is there, and it's funny because they just need to turn their attention elsewhere. They need to plug into a church.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
What I don't understand, I do understand, even though I'm saying I don't. What would make, first of all, that was a dumb question. Would you take the place of a black person, right? Who want to take the place of a black person?
And like, would you want to take the place of a white person?
I'm about to say, I wouldn't
Yeah.
even want to take the place of a white person or any
Yeah.
person. I want my own place.
It's a risk, man. Because you
right.
see something and you don't know what the internal life is like. So even if I see you and you look like you've just got it all together, I wouldn't want to trade places. It's a risk.
Were you surprised to see that those white women putting themselves in that position with some dumb black woman and another, whatever she was?
Yeah.
Why were they putting themselves in that position like that?
Well, because it's this self-flagellation, and this is the only reason why, like, we're able to have, like, in America, for example, you're able to have your borders invaded. Like other countries where it's acceptable to be sort of nationalistic and to have pride in yourself. Like if you go to Japan or South Korea and they try and tell you you're evil because you're Japanese, they will grab some chopsticks and start whipping you out the building.
Really?
Like, I promise you, like these countries are proud, and they're proud of who they are. They're proud of their history, and if they're actually what you'd want to call racially supremacist. And I go to those countries and I think, okay, you think you're better than me because you're Japanese? I get it, and this is why you guys have a strong culture.
Right.
But white people, for some reason, have just become so self-flagellating over the past however long. I'm not too sure, but it doesn't surprise me to see white women doing it. But I've also had experiences in my life, especially with a certain white woman that I know that had to do the DEI training.
Right.
And then she was brave enough to stick up for it. And I went in the call with her when they were doing the DEI training and trying to like sort of scold her about it. And she stood up to it and they crumbled in a heartbeat. They crumbled straight away, Jesse. These people can't stand up to questioning. So
a mess.
Yeah.
Amazing. I remember growing up, and then you want to take a call, at least one?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
I remember growing up, and white people were strong. I never imagined that one day white people would be so weak and afraid to just say, no, I'm not a racist. That doesn't exist anyway. I'm not a racist. All they have to say is no. They won't even say no.
But also, I'm not a racist, but in-group preference and that does exist, though. If I say that Christian European culture I think is the greatest culture to ever exist, that doesn't make me a racist.
That's
that just
right.
makes me proud.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. But I think that the problem comes in when you start to pathologize the other, and that's what these women are doing. They're pathologizing white women.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pathologize black people. I would identify the problems that African Americans are facing, that Indigenous Australians are facing. I would also identify the problems that white people are facing in America, which is the fact that they're self-flagellating and they vote for these awful governors like Gavin Newsom, you know.
Amazing. What a man. You have a dog?
Have a dog? No, not at the moment.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, man.
We'll get to that story.
Okay.
Let's go to Emily, a first-time caller out of Texas. Emily, you're on the air. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Jesse. I've just moved here to Texas, and I just started listening to you. You make a lot of good sense, and a lot of people don't want to listen to what you have to say. They want to overtalk you and everything. But I had a few questions I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
What is the meaning of sin, and what really is sin? Kind of confused about that because we're raised with certain values, and we go by that, and the church tells us certain things, and then we feel certain things are good or bad. I wanted to get your response on that.
Sin is man or woman playing God. When you think that you know what you want for yourself, when you think you can make your life work, when you judge yourself and others, you are playing God. And that's why God cannot do anything for you, because you're your own God in your mind. And that's the sin, human beings playing God.
I agree 100%. Most of my life I've tried to find out who I am and what I am, but I've always known God. I've always known him. Even when I was 3 years old, I told my mother, I said, Mom, I've had this dream that I stood up in the pew in church, and I told the priest he did not know what he was talking about. And my mama said, yeah, you actually did that. And when I was a little girl, I would put an altar in the backyard, and I would bring the other children in the neighborhood to come and pray. And my mother said, "No, you can't do that. That is wrong." And I said, "But I have this feeling that I want to tell people about God." And I've done that my whole life.
Well, little children do know God. It's just that they're traumatized by their mothers because the father doesn't protect them from their mothers. And so they forget God once they become angry. But they do know God when they're born. And that's why as an adult, you got to come back to him. Are you married, Emily?
My husband just passed away last year.
Oh, may his soul rest in peace.
I was extremely obedient. I was raised old-fashioned Italian. When you get married, the marriage vows say, the woman says, to honor, love, and obey. But the husband doesn't have to say that. I never really paid attention to it, but
exactly.
I do now.
You want to respond? Emily, let Jake respond to that. You want to respond to that?
Yeah, well, I hadn't read the marriage vows myself about to love and obey, but I think I'm Italian by culture as well.
Oh,
so,
yeah?
It does make sense. And Italian women can be good, but unfortunately, if you go there now, there's a little color revolution going on, and the feminism is very strong in Italy.
Yes.
So we got to bring it back.
Amazing.
Well,
did you obey your husband, Emily?
Yes, he was my Lord and Master, and that's how I was brought up. He wanted to marry an Italian. He wanted to marry because his parents felt that was right. I had a chaperone until I was engaged to get married. I had a chaperone. Girls today need chaperones. Yeah. But my mama taught me, your husband is your Lord and Master. He puts food on your table, puts a roof over your house, and takes care of you. You have to take care of him. And I did obey, let him take control of the money, take control of everything. I felt that was the right thing to do up until the day he died.
Right on. Amazing. That is amazing.
Thank you. I think more women would be a whole lot more settled and happy today if they would do that. But I see a lot of angry women.
Yeah.
Don't know where the heck they belong.
They're yearning for their fathers. That's what's wrong. They want, they're yearning for the father. And that's what men are supposed to do, is to bring them back, to have that godly love, God in Christ, Christ in man. And they would bring the women back to their natural state of being. Emily, thank you for your call. Will you call me again?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Jesse, for the work that you're doing.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
What I want to do before we end here is get you and Joel. You know who Joel is?
Who?
Joel, he black.
No, I don't. This is Joel.
Yeah, let's see Joel picture up there with his show.
How are you, man?
Okay, good.
With it advertised for his show. Joel Friday TV.
Yes, sir. Joel.
You don't have it? Okay. This is Joel Friday. See? He's a part of our
very nice
network we're building. He black.
Is Obama black, Jesse?
No.
No?
Obama white.
Why?
I got
He's
a little white
and black.
I got a little white.
But this is Joel, and he's on our network here. He worked here as well.
Yeah.
And,
nice to meet you, Joel.
You too, man.
You got a show on the network as well?
Yeah. I just started about a year ago. So
beautiful. If you're ever struggling for a guest, need a replacement, you let me know. I'll jump in there.
Good to know.
Had you heard of Jake before today?
No, this is the first time the first time I heard about it.
On.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is play this soundbite about dogs.
I don't have headphones though, so I don't
Where
know.
are your headphones?
They disappeared.
Hake, where are your headphones?
What the?
I know. Amazing. He said, ask Bill, not me.
What?
So you're not able to hear then.
But we can, if somebody wants to bring the headphones that are out there in here,
that's the anchor, baby, Jake.
You need to hear them too.
Jake, don't give that man your don't give that man your headset.
I thought, is there a place to plug it in there?
Yeah, yeah, we got it.
I think you have to have these ones.
No, we'll plug it over here.
No, plug it right under the table there. Nick, come and show him where to plug it.
I've got one here.
Oh, okay. I see what happened.
I'll just
I see what happened.
Oh.
We got it, yeah.
That was in the wrong plug.
Okay.
Okay, we got it.
I found it.
Boom.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. First of all, did you know that dogs get depressed?
I've seen depressed dogs.
You have?
I've seen depressed dogs. Yeah.
Well, watch this. New York Post. Multiple things can trigger the onset of dog depression.
And you know they can get antidepressants now.
What?
They can get antidepressants now for
Pill?
dogs. Pills. I promise you can put it in the dog's food.
What? Oh, Lord.
Big pharma.
Studies have shown that dogs can experience depression and anxiety. Watch this from CBS.
Well, I don't think they've
But
forgiven
what
their
about
mothers.
the dog's well-being? Turns out they suffer from depression and anxiety just as much as we do.
So everybody can tell you about how your dog knows when you're in a bad mood and knows how to come and cheer you up. But unfortunately, we're not as good at reading them.
Nearly 75% of dogs show signs of depression or anxiety, with 18% showing symptoms every week. However, only about a third of owners recognize those signals.
The main things to look out for are disinterest in things that they used to be interested in, going off their food. So you can look at their little faces. If they're kind of lip licking a lot, if they're yawning a lot, that's kind of a sign of immediate stress.
Experts predicted a surge in poor pet mental health after the pandemic.
While you're out for your walk, why don't you make it not just a physical walk for them, but like a mentally stimulating walk?
Researchers say that extra mental boost for your fur baby could improve your health too.
What do you think about that?
Wow, I mean, imagine you're a dog, Jesse, and you've got some lady who's your master, and she's carrying you around in a little handbag all day. Or imagine you're a big Rottweiler who wants to run around, and somebody's keeping you in like a little tiny backyard.
Right.
You'd be depressed too.
Amazing. Good point, man.
Yeah.
And you say?
What a mess. No, there's like reasons why it's actually the owners who are weakening the dogs, like he's saying.
Right.
Is that by putting them in these clothes and like babying them, put them in a stroller, it's not letting the dog's nature be a dog.
You ever seen a single mother with a dog? I know this single mother who has a dog, right? And it's just, you know what happens when the single mamas, like the men discipline their dogs and the dogs become obedient. But when the single mamas have a dog, they try and talk to them with like love and affection. So when they do something wrong, they'll be like, "Oh, it's okay, it's okay." And that, if you don't discipline a dog, then they just become reckless.
Yeah,
you know? It's like a young lady who doesn't have her father around. You know, once that happens, then it just never stops, and the dog will just climb up on the table, eat all the food.
Yeah.
Good point, man.
Yeah. And the dogs also don't reject it. They're not going to reject it and be like, this is too much. They love it. So their nature is going to change because of it.
Because they like the attention. But dogs don't get depressed. I'm telling you. Dogs don't feel anything. It's just that human beings who have not overcome, they're in an animal-like state. And so they have all these feelings and thoughts and feelings, and they think that the dog is feeling what they're feeling, and they're not.
I think the word depression, it might be something different, but you definitely get dogs who are like uncomfortable by their lives, and they've got, bad parents, bro.
Jay, tell the people your website, how to find you and everything.
Rattlesnake TV on YouTube, Instagram, Jake Rattle SNK, Rattlesnake but Rattle SNK, and same with Twitter. And that's where you can find me.
Amazing. Thank you, man, for coming by.
Always a pleasure.
And you're welcome here anytime.
Thank you, brother. Next time I'm in LA, I'll hit you up again.
Right on.
Another chat.
And have a safe trip.
Nice to meet you too, man.
We'll be back. I'll be back in a moment. I'm going to take your phone calls and Super Chat. Quick break. 1 more hour to go. Back in a moment. Amazing. Amazing.
Amazing. Oh.
Steve, thank you for calling and thanks for holding. How have you been helped by the show?
I'm going to tell you this. I believe you might go down in history as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, black man that ever lived on planet Earth, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know anybody before you that's been that great. Freeing the slaves is one thing, but you've been freeing people of their mind, which matters, it should be anyhow, to you more than anything else, because with the mind not being right, there ain't nothing else going to happen right anyway.
If you can doubt every thought because you're not your thoughts, if you can doubt every thought knowing that you are not your thoughts, you don't create them, they are not from God, that they're from the deceiver, the great deceiver, Satan. If you can doubt every thought, you can be free, just like that. At an instant. Bring every thought into captivity. It's so amazing.
A whole lot of mess going on in the world. This is the end of hour 2 already of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. It's Wednesday, the 31st of January, AD 2024. Stay tuned for hour 3, Manhood Hours, coming right up. And speaking of men, tomorrow night, first Thursday of the month, for men only, the Men's Forum, right here in Los Angeles. Be here or miss it, all right? rebuildingtheman.com/events if you need more info to join us in person for the men only. Women's forums are third Thursday of the month for ladies only. There is one line open. You can call in right now to get in on for Manhood Hour, talk with JLP. But first, Hake News, not fake news. You can call in during Hake News, not fake news. Persecution of the president. New York State so-called Judge Arthur Engoron, according to far-left commie nonsense network CNN, is poised to soon rule. Ooh, they split their infinitive to rule soon how much money our greatest president, Donald J. Trump, and his co-defendants owe, quote-unquote, owe for fraud, as well as whether Trump can still do business in the state of New York. Engoron has already ruled that Trump engaged in fraud, ruled without evidence, and said he's aiming to issue a decision on Trump's business empire today. What a mess. Anyway, they're pretending that it's real because it goes to the heart of Trump's image as a successful billionaire, which he is, and includes accusations of fraud regarding the Trump Tower apartment and the Mar-a-Lago estate and several golf courses, among other assets, and it's phony. The civil lawsuit from New York Attorney General Letitia James, a black female Democrat, is seeking $370 million from Trump and the other defendants in ill-gotten gains. What a dummy. She's the ill-gotten gain. She's getting ill-gotten gain. Anyway, Judge Engoron's ruling will also address 6 additional claims, including conspiracy and falsifying business records. Speaking of fake things, abortion rights. No such thing. France is on track to become the first country in the world to include abortion rights, quote-unquote, in their constitution, according to the commie nonsense network CNN. The French National Assembly passed a historic bill on Tuesday with 493 so-called lawmakers in favor and 30 against. The few, the proud. That moves toward enshrining the so-called right to kill the unborn child in the womb into law. The next vote will take place in the Senate in February, and later in the French Congress, a special body composed of both chambers of the parliament. The bill's adoption relies on a 3/5 majority vote in the latter, which is expected to happen in time for International Women's Day for killing the children on March 8th. The bid for constitutionalization became a priority for the French government following the overturning by the U.S. Supreme Court of Roe v. Wade, which was a joke of a decision from 1972, in June of 2022. And that was argued by a man. Nice. Speaking of men, Wayne LaPierre stepping down as leader of the NRA. We salute you, brother. Wayne LaPierre did a great job, I think. He spoke well and he wrote well. Wayne LaPierre, the longtime leader of the National Rifle Association, which is a rhino establishment outfit by now, in the NRA. He helmed the organization for 3 decades. He will end his tenure today. The outgoing CEO plans to resign earlier this month, citing his health. So we wish you well, Wayne LaPierre. He faces a so-called civil corruption case from, I think it's that Letitia James woman or some other black female dummy, alleging that NRA violated laws for non-profit groups, committed tax fraud, and spent millions on personal expenses for its leaders. So she's suing them. I think it's that black female Democrat, same one who's going after Trump. Not very fit, by the way. Hamas hostages. 6 so-called Americans are among the more than 100 remaining hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. Been trapped since the militants, the so-called, what are they called? Terrorists launched a series of brutal attacks in Israel on October 7th. And so the families of the hostages met with the Black on the Inside White House officials Tuesday. I'm James Hake. Now back to JLP, Manhood Hour.
To stand up strong, think the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the third hour of the show already. You can get involved by calling 888-7753. 773 888-77 Jesse. And there is a line open right now if you want to jump in there. My biblical question for this week, the biblical question, are you afraid you're not going to make it? Are you afraid that you're not going to make it? Amazing. We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com/show, JesseLeePeterson.com/show. And if you're busy out and about making breakfast, lunch, and dinner anywhere in the world, we are heard around the world by everybody and their mama. And if you're black, everybody and their mama. If you're white, everybody and their mama. Amazing. You can podcast the shows, but you can listen while you're running, walking, jogging, whatever. You can listen to the show on your iPhone or iPad by calling the listen line on TalkStream Live at 641-793-1500. 641-793-1500. And follow us on social media, like, ring the bell, subscribe, and all those things. We're on cozy.tv, where Christ is King. Cozy.tv/JLP and JLP Talk on X. JLP Talk on X. To donate and have your comments read out loud, go to Buy Me a Coffee. BuyMeACoffee.com/JLP Talk. BuyMeACoffee.com/JLP Talk. Rebuilding the Man, you can go there, rebuildingtheman.com, or Bond JLP on Cash App. Bond JLP on Cash App. All right. So it's Wednesday. It's the last hour of the show on Wednesday. And every Wednesday is Manhood Hour. Ain't no volume to it. Stop it. Okay. We'll have to get back to that in a minute. They got to check out why we can't get the sound to it. All right. 888-7753-773. I want to go to the busy phones, and I had a couple more sound bites that I want to play for you. But before I get to that, I want to encourage you. Do what you want, of course, but encourage you. to come back to the natural state of being. Life is not going to work until you return to the Father. There will come a day, thus said the Lord, when I will return the children to the fathers and the fathers to the children. And if ever that needed to happen, it is needed now. And there are some people who are doing it of all races. I counsel with them. Matter of fact, we have the best counseling service on this side of heaven. If you need counseling, individual, men or women, and women, individual or family counseling, go to rebuildingtheman.com, rebuildingtheman.com, or call 800-411-BOND, 800-411-2663, all right, for counseling. But life is about a return to the Father, men and women, boys and girls. And you were put on this earth to return to the Father. Really. You were put on this earth to return to the Father. And the way you return, forgive your mother for turning you away from your fathers. Even if she didn't say bad things to him, about him, her spirit didn't like him, and you knew it as a kid. Forgive your mothers. That's the only issue in your life is of the heart. The heart must turn from anger to love. And love is not emotional love. That's not love, that's hate. Emotions, the ones that feel good or feel bad, is hatred. It is not love. All right? So that's not love. God is a dispassionate God, and Satan is a passionate God for those who worship him. Whenever you hear someone say, I'm so passionate, I love passion, I'm so passionate, well, they're telling you that they're a child of Satan, and they love their hell. They love it. All right? It ain't about color, no such thing as racism, sexism, homophobia-ism, Islamophobia-ism, Debbie-Dad-ism, Allah-u-Abba-ism, white supremacism, anti-Semitism, no isms. It's good or evil. And everyone who has not returned to the Father, I don't care where you live, how much money you have, what your little title is, or how many degrees you have or don't have, if you have not returned to the Father, you're of your father, the devil. You have your mama's nature. And it's not her nature, but it's the spirit of Satan in her. It's a mess, huh? Do we have it ready yet? We don't have it? Okay. All right. So we don't have it right now. The opening for Manhood Hour. Maybe we're playing at the bottom of the hour. So let me go to a first-time call out of New Jersey. Tony. I mean, not Tony, but John. John, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Jesse, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Great. I just want to thank you for helping me. Been listening to your show for about 6 months now, and I didn't know before why I'm not so angry, but why I have anger, and I couldn't figure out. But I started listening to your show, and I found out that I'm supposed to forgive my mother and my father. And first I thought about it, and I'm like, how's that possible? And I started listening to your show, and you were explaining to people, and people were like responding to what you have taught them and what they've done. And I thought it was worth it. I did thought I had forgiven her before, way before I started listening to your show, but I guess I didn't do it right. But anyway, last week I went to her and I said sorry for resenting you I know now that, you tried your best and you couldn't help what you were doing. So ever since then, it felt like like an anvil was off of my chest.
Yeah.
After telling her.
Yeah.
And for some reason this anger that I had before, it's just gone. Like I'd speak to my kids with no anger. I used to be angry with them with like the littlest thing.
Yeah.
But now it's just, I don't know.
Nice.
I feel free.
Right on, man. And what did your mother say when you went over together? How did she react to it?
Well, first, she had like the shock face, and she didn't know why I was like saying what I was saying, and then so I told her once, I told her twice, and then she said, oh, I'm actually surprised she said this. I'm sorry for like imposing on you. So
right
it's almost like she knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. When they pretend they don't know, they do know. They are just not ready to admit that they were wrong, but they know.
Right.
And that's why God has to set up that you forgive them and God will forgive you. Human beings don't have to say, okay, I'm sorry too, or anything. God will forgive you when you forgive her.
Right.
Amazing.
Thank you very much, Jesse.
And how did your father react when you went to him?
Unfortunately, my father passed away a long time ago. So I just forgave her through my heart.
Right on. Do the silent prayer if you're not doing it. And
yes, I do it every day.
Right on. Well, stay with it and just watch those thoughts. Don't do anything about those thoughts. They're not yours. The feelings are not yours that come with the thoughts. And all you have to do, John, is just watch. Do nothing else, and life will happen on its own.
Yep. That's what I follow now. Thank you very much for opening my eyes.
Right on, John. Call me again. Amazing call, man. Stay with it, all right?
All right. Thank you.
All right.
And to the team. Thank you very
much. On. You're welcome, John. Right. Amazing. Amazing. Salvation's of the heart. You got to forgive. If you want to be free, you got to forgive, and then the light inside of you, the kingdom of heaven will light up for you and allow you to see that you never have been, you never were, you never ain't going to be, you never were your thoughts and feelings. Those were all false identities. You were never an alcoholic. You were never a lesbian. You were never a homosexual. You were never a drug addict. You were never a psychologist or psychiatrist. You were never a doctor. You were never a lawyer. You were never rich nor poor. You were never any of those things. They were just false identities. You would never enter the thrills. You would never, the anger, even the anger inside of you wasn't you. It was the spirit of the devil. You're possessed by evil. All thoughts are all lies all the time about anything. Isn't that amazing? 888-77 Jesse, there's a line open. Let me go to Tony out of Missouri. Tony, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Peterson. How are you doing this morning?
All is well, Tony.
I know we got disconnected yesterday. That's all right. But I'm going to answer your question. Am I afraid? That's the question, right? Are you afraid that
you're not going to make it?
And behold my answer, there is no fear in love, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. That's 1 John 4:18.
So are you afraid you're not going to make it?
No, sir. I know where I'm going, whom I have believed and committed on to him to keep that day, or committed to keep that trust that I committed onto him against that day, because the judgment is coming, friend. And moreover, The scriptures do say in Psalm 118, line 8, it is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. So my question is...
Did you say you know where you were going?
I know where I am going because of whom I have believed. I'm going to heaven, friend. Hell is not for me. That's for the devil and his angels and all those who reject God.
And how do you know you're going to heaven?
Because he that believeth on me, as the scripture hath said, out of his belly shall flow
How do you know you're going
water.
to heaven?
Because if any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of God or whether I speak of myself.
And how do you know you're going to heaven?
He that keepeth my word loveth me.
How do you know you're going to heaven?
I just gave you the answer.
You haven't told me yet. All you're doing is quoting scriptures. You have not told me how do you know that you're going to heaven. All you're doing is this is not even Bible Thumping Thursday. That's tomorrow.
Well, yeah, but
all you're doing is quoting scripture. How do you know you're going to heaven? How do you know you're going to heaven?
Because I don't put confidence in man like you do.
Thank you, John.
You put confidence in Donald Trump.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it. He still haven't told me why you're going to heaven. Amazing. Call me on Bible Thumping Thursday, Tony, and then you have a little bit more time to throw out scriptures.
What the?
But you just can't answer a question with a scripture. That's dumb. That's intellectual. And the intellect hate God. Let me go to Joseph there's a line open for Joseph out of Arkansas, but if you're Joel Friday and you're black, it's Arkansas. Joseph.
Good morning, Jesse. How are you doing?
All is well, Joseph. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I just wanted to agree with Jake. I think it would be amazing for you to go on the Whatever podcast.
Oh, you familiar with that?
I've seen a few episodes.
Oh,
and
okay.
I think it would probably be their best episode with you on it.
Oh, amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. I called last Tuesday, and basically all it was about was me going to Iraq when I was a young man. And basically I just wasted a lot of time, in the world, turned away from God, tried to use the VA to help me, come over my struggles. And as an older man, I found you many years ago, and what I was talking about, it was so simple. And I was very glad I called. I was nervous to call, but I'm very glad I did because the advice you gave after I hung up about just letting go of anger and just how bad I was and or how bad I thought I was.
Yeah.
I know that all thoughts are lies, and I realize that now. But if I can realize it, I just want I think this is perfect for today for Manhood Day. I just how do I guys that were in that I was in that position that are still around me that I served with or I grew up with.
Yeah.
That they're in this position. How do I give them your advice? How do I just show them your content?
Well, you could do that too, but don't plan on how you're going to do it. If you stay with the silent prayer, watch those thoughts, and you'll overcome that old nature. And just like Satan used to control your mouth, your tongue, and he made you say and do what you didn't want to do, the truth would now take over, get rid of the devil, right? And it would cause you to speak when you need to say exactly what you need to say, and it would bring people back to him. But don't, because a lot of people you're going to say it to, they're not ready to hear it. They don't want to hear it, right?
Right. They want to be stuck in where they're already at.
Right. But then you're going to run into some people that, as you, they want out. They want the truth. And the Spirit of the Father will give you the perfect words to say to them.
Yes, sir. It's because I just have this peace about me, and I just want them to have it,
I understand. But they may not want it.
Yeah, I understand. Yes, sir.
But yeah, most people, as I've said, love their hell, and so you would be trying to give them the truth, and it'll be like throwing pearls to swines.
Exactly. I was going to say that exact thing to you. Yes, sir.
So just be aware, stay present, and you will know who to tell it to. But in the meantime, you can tell other people, you know what? You can watch JLP talk or whatever, right?
Yes, sir.
And see how they deal with that.
Okay. Yes, sir. And I'm out here in Arkansas, but I sure hope to make it to LA to see one of your Sunday conversations
Right
one day,
on.
Jesse.
You know, you remind me. I got a email from a guy who had been in the war in the army. He'd been through different wars, and he was telling me that in the email he said that he had a sergeant. I believe he said a sergeant that was really, really mean and nasty to him. And when he was in the army, he'd been to Afghanistan and all those places, and that this person was so mean to him, and he gave examples of how he was mean and nasty with him, and now that he's out of the military and this person is out too, he still hate that sergeant guy that did that to him, and he said he know where he live and everything, but he hate him, and he wanted to know, how do I forgive him? Is it possible? And in case the guys, and I'm bringing it up in case I won't mention his name, but in case he's listening, he can forgive that sergeant because that sergeant was being driven and influenced by the same evil that we all are until we overcome it.
Of course.
Yeah, the sergeant was getting a thrill out of being the sergeant. He was getting a thrill out of pushing people around. He couldn't help himself.
I'll tell people all the time, like, you don't realize the power of that uniform, and when they put that gun in your hand, gives your mind.
Yes.
And that's a struggle. I think a lot of guys struggle coming home with is releasing that power.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I don't think the VA is structured well to help guys. Like if I came home and I saw your show immediately, I think I would have had 20 years of life. That would have been much better.
Yeah.
But these are thoughts, of course. But I just think there needs to be much better ways, and the way is the Father.
Absolutely.
And it took me a long time to realize that. I was grew up as a Christian, but I didn't know what that meant.
I do.
And then finding you. God speaks through you, Jesse, and I thank you very much.
You're welcome, man. And stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. And it just get better and better. It's amazing.
Yes, sir. So, every day is better and better.
Right on. Amazing. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you, Jesse.
All right, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. And to all the military men out there, you can overcome the trauma of being in the military. Because the only thing that happened over there is that you overreacted to situations. You were angry and you were overreacting, and the more you overreact, the more traumatized you are. So forgive. And God will forgive you. It'll be as though you were never in the military. When you talk about the military, it wouldn't be from a trauma. It'll be from perfect love and perfect peace. 888-7753-773. Let me go to a first-time caller out of Ohio. There's a line open if you want to jump in there. Martin out of Ohio. Martin, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Thank you, Jesse. How are you doing this morning?
All is well, sir.
Yeah, I just had a bit of a loaded question for you, kind of spiritual. But does God make mistakes?
No, it's impossible.
And how do we know that God does not make mistakes?
You don't, but you will just as you work on yourself and you overcome that fallen state, that mindset of anger and believing thoughts and emotion. You're going to experience His love, but you're going to experience much more than that. And you're going to see how amazing His love is. His love is life. And that in Him there is no hate. In Him there is no mistake. You see it for yourself.
And that's all fair and well, but if that's the case, then how is it that we explain the existence of the devil that drives a lot of our negativity? Because, the devil was created of God. Well, not of God, but created by God and was a fallen angel. I don't believe that God's intention was for Satan to be a fallen angel. Would that not be considered a mistake?
No, Satan, he decided that he wanted to be his own God. And so once he decided that, he could no longer be with God. So God threw him out of paradise. And that's what happened to all people. When they become angry, they have decided, whether knowingly or not, that they want to be God. And you cannot live in paradise on earth or in heaven as long as you want to be God. All angry people want to be God.
Do you think that's kind of attributed to God giving all things that he created free will? Satan was most likely given free will, like all of us human beings, right? We have the right to be, we have the free will to be angry, to be happy, to, do whatever. Do you think that's attributed to Satan being given free will?
Well, we don't have a free will. We're influenced by evil. And if you ever overcome evil, you're influenced by good. You don't have a free will.
Okay. How is it that Satan was influenced? I mean, all around him was paradise and the Garden of Eden. How exactly was he influenced? Because God is not of evil. So where could he have gotten this bad or angry influence from?
He decided.
I'm just trying to understand. That's all.
No, I understand it. He decided in his own mind that he wanted to be God.
Very interesting. I mean, in many ways, I know a lot of us here on Earth have the same anger, right?
Every human being, there's not one that does not have the mind of Satan. They want to be their own God. All angry people. I don't care how much anger, because people I don't have a lot of anger, I just have a little bit. Even a little bit of anger, if there is such a thing, is still evil. It's still human beings wanting to be God. All angry people. And that's why they're suffering, because they cannot enter into paradise within until they overcome anger trying to play God. Have you overcome your anger, Martin?
Yeah. I mean, it was just something that I had always questioned. And we all have a little bit of anger. I mean, I'm not necessarily saved, but I mean, I do have a lot of issues, unresolved issues that I try to get over. But I mean, that explanation kind of clears it up a little bit more for me now.
Yeah, it's all pride. Man trying to be God, man and woman playing God. It's all ego. It's of the nature of the devil. Did you say you were over your anger or not?
Yeah, I am.
You forgave your mother?
Much to be angry about. No, not at all.
You didn't forgive your mother?
No, not at all. I mean, I was raised by two parents. I mean, I didn't really have any anger issues with either one of my parents.
Why haven't you forgiven her?
No, I didn't say that I didn't forgive her. I said I wasn't angry at her. I was not.
And why haven't you forgiven her then?
So why haven't I forgiven her?
Yes.
I mean, there was nothing really to forgive her about. I mean,
she was perfect?
Childhood.
She was perfect?
I mean, no human being is perfect, but I mean...
Was your mother perfect?
With my father. Nah, she wasn't. But I mean, there's nothing to hold a grudge or a long-standing grudge over her. Like, I mean, we have a good relationship right now.
Was she perfect?
Not at all.
What the little things that she was not, that you wish she had not done or wouldn't do now or stopped or whatever, that would irritate you a little bit? Can you give me an example?
Yeah, I suppose just like chastising me for the littlest of things, just household chores, things like that. I mean, stuff that you should take responsibility of doing. It's nothing major.
Have you forgiven her for that?
Yeah, but it's not anything like keeping me from my father or bad-mouthing my father.
Have you forgiven her for the little things like chastising you about cleaning, doing your chores around the house? Have you forgiven her for that?
Yeah, because I knew it was ultimately for the better good.
You told her?
Oh, yeah. I mean...
You told her you forgive her for imposing her will on you in that way?
Yeah, it's really more about me being responsible, so I don't really harbor any ill will towards her about that. Because
did you tell her did you forgive her for imposing her will, trying to make you do even with little things like that?
No, I didn't present it to her in that manner. I just told her that I understand you're trying to teach me to be responsible. I didn't say I forgive you for imposing your will on me. I didn't.
Why not?
Bring it to her.
How will you be free if you don't forgive her?
I suppose you're right.
No, that was a question.
That way.
That was a question. How will
I won't know.
How will you be free?
I would never know because I never thought to present it to her in that manner. So
can you hold for me?
Yep.
Hold on. I got to take a quick break. 888-7753-773. The lines are open. Treasure Chest is now open on D-Line. I'll be back in a moment. Check out my book, For Raised to Responsibility. I show you how I was able to overcome anger. The spirit of anger was taken away from me. I had it. And as a result of having anger, I was insecure. I had doubt, worry, fear. I was in a fallen state and didn't know it. And it wasn't until I went and forgave my mother who tried to turn me away from my father. I forgave my father for not being there and returned back to him. My spirit connected with his spirit, and through him, I was able to return to God. And I have perfect peace. Perfect love casts out anger. And when anger is gone, fear and doubt, worry, insecurity, suicidal thoughts, all of that is gone. And you are free. Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, or if you want an autographed copy, you can go to my website at rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-BOND. Okay, welcome back. 888-775-3773. We're going to get to all of your calls here. Number one, the Hake Report is coming up at the top of this hour at 9 a.m. Pacific time from 9 to 11. The Hake Report. The guy with the good hair, and he's on fire. And after the Hake Report, Joel Friday TV, he black. At 11 a.m. He's here Monday through Thursdays now. And then at 12, with energy given to him by God, he's a genius. The American Anchor Baby. He didn't have to take that little short yellow bus to school because he's a genius, and that's the truth. At 12 Pacific time. You jealous, Bill, that he's a genius? We got another genius in the house. You're no longer the only genius, Bill.
What the?
Bill, like, whatever. Amazing. So at 12 noon, the American Anchor Baby. Tomorrow night is the men's forum at 7 p.m. for men only, every first Thursday night. And then relax, ladies. The third Thursday night at 7 for ladies only. So tomorrow night. And check out my books. They're amazing. Yeah, we got the paperback books back now. Oh, that's why Billy knocked over Nick's golden mic. Because he think he a genius too. But what was I saying? Oh, the 7 guarantee stuff, it's in paperback now. We had to have it reprinted. We ran out. And so you can now get it. A little pocket guide, amazing guide. We use it in our entrepreneur classes, academy. And but you can use it for business or whatever you're doing. If you do the steps, they work. If you don't, they won't. I highly recommend. And yes, I will sign them. We have it in paperback now. You can also get it on rebuildingtheman.com/store. There's a link there if you want it on Kindles, audiobooks. All right? But if you want paperback, go to rebuildingtheman.com/stores or call 800-411-BOND. From Rage to Responsibility, my first book, the scam, how the black leadership exploits black America, the 7 guaranteed steps to spiritual and family financial success guide. And these 7 steps is what I did, not even realize I was doing them. Really. They were just in me and they were in you too. You just don't know it. And then last but not least, the antidote, healing America from the poison of hate, blame, and victimhood. Amazing books. All right. Oh, do we have that opening ready? Again, go to rebuildingtheman.com, rebuildingtheman.com, or call /stores or 800-411-BOND, 800-411-2663 to order them, and I will sign them. It's Manhood Hour. What is a man? What is a man?
It's an adult human male.
Manhood. Hillary or President Trump?
I voted for Hillary Clinton.
Beta male. A man is a male who turns to man. Alpha male. Live right, be right, and lead the way.
You are not the father. Miss Miller.
Be respectful.
Sorry. Miss Miller.
I'm sorry. Donald Trump was ordered to pay over $83 million in damages to writer E. Jean Carroll.
I absolutely trust the jury, and I think that they made their decision based on the evidence.
You know who has to pay. You just showed me where your priorities were right there.
First thing, Rachel, you and I go shopping.
I'm a single mother with nobody that loves me or my child. What you cheering for? This is this baby's life.
Now do you believe me when I say the gates of hell come through the woman? This is why you must forgive to return to the Father. Amazing. 888-775. The anchorman put that together. I had not seen it until now. Amazing work. Martin out of Ohio, first-time caller. Will you go and forgive your mother for those things?
Yeah, I will, but I'll admit, I don't think I can categorize her as that clip that you just played, but yes, I do forgive her.
Well, she has the same, it's the same spirit in her. That's why she will irritate you when she will impose her will on you to make you do those things around whatever it is. She didn't do it with love, she did it with hate.
So would you say that ultimately there's a way to teach a person to be responsible without chastising them?
Yes.
Or imposing their will? Like, what approach would you take? I mean, I understand that, a man serves his role in the family as head of the family. But for the woman who's at home taking care of the kids, as you often say, she needs to be at home taking care of the kids, how would she go ahead and teach the child to be responsible without imposing their will, little household chores, stuff like that?
By overcoming anger. Because she's angry, she can't help but do it with hate. She can't help but impose. But if she overcame anger by forgiving her mother and returned to her father, she would, the truth, the perfect love, which is of God, would guide her in love. And when she does tell you what you need to do, it would be with perfect love, and it would not traumatize you.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And with that said, I definitely will forgive her for imposing her will on me, because I just never viewed it that way.
Yeah, I understand that too. We just don't know because our parents don't tell us, and teachers and the preachers don't tell us, and so we just don't know. We forget. As kids, we knew, but as adults, we forgot the truth. What would your father say when you would go to your father and tell him that she was irritating you or whatever she was doing? What would he say? Would he help you deal with her? Did he help you?
Well, yeah, of course. But ultimately, he agreed with the subject matter that I do need to be more responsible. He might not go about it the same way, although he can be pretty stern himself, as most men are.
So he didn't protect you from your mother?
He played a lot of good cop, bad cop with her, believe it or not. But he agreed with the sentiment that I did need to be more responsible. The methods might have differed a bit, but
I promise you that if your mother had not imposed a will like that, and your father would stand between you and your mother, you would naturally do what you're supposed to do without having to be told what to do.
So I would innately just know how to be responsible.
Yeah, because first of all, if they had love, your parents, they would be naturally doing what they're supposed to do, and they would be the light, and the children would follow the light. You would become like your parents, but instead they don't have love, so you became like them in anger.
Well, yeah, that I 100% agree, because really that's just a classic case of following by example or leading by example, right?
Yes.
Not leading with anger or imposing your will. With that, I agree with.
And not even, and by example, I mean really being of love, not faking it. And love is not an emotion, so really being of the light. And the kids will follow the light. They will follow whatever the parents are.
That's true, but that's what repentance is all about, man.
So
do it better the next time.
Will you forgive your father for not protecting you from her?
Yeah, absolutely. In that case, I definitely will.
Amazing. Don't let the devil talk you out of it.
Not at all. Not at all, sir.
And the reason I'm encouraging you to do what you want, because your questions about God and things, it indicates that you really do want to know God. And once you forgive, he will forgive you. He's going to draw you into the kingdom, and then teacher will teach you all things. It would be amazing.
Absolutely. Amazing.
All right?
Well, thank you. Thank you for taking my call, Jesse.
All right. Did I answer all your questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. Call me again. I wish you well.
Thank you. You too. Have a great day.
All right. 888-775-3773. There is a line open, but let me go to Super Chats first. Super
Chats. Over on buymeacoffee.com, Cabico Joe 67656 bought a coffee. My answer to the biblical question.
Are you afraid you're not going to make it?
I am not afraid I will not make it. Make it where/when? That's an illusion. I'm living in the present. Fear and future are two ways the devil deceives people.
Oh, amazing. Thank you for your input. I'll put my little 2 cents in on Sunday. Thank you. Amazing.
White Lion bought a coffee on your channel, just like he did on my channel, saying, I want to learn about Jesus' relationship with his mother Mary and weak father Joseph. In addition, his relationship with Mary, the other Mary, the one who was a prostitute, and their daughter Sophia. What happened to Sophia after she got sent down the river?
Why you want to know all that? If you want to learn about Jesus' relationship with his mother, overcome your mother, and you will know Jesus' relationship with his mother. It'll be amazing. Thank you.
Gregatron bought a coffee. Jesse, it's Manhood Hour today. I have a manhood question for you.
Okay.
If a dark-skinned man and a light-skinned woman have a boy first, but the boy's light-skinned like the mother is the father alpha or beta? I know. I'm asking because I know a guy who has 2 boys. Both boys look like the mama.
I don't know. I hadn't thought about that. All I think is look like the mama. That's a good question. I don't know, to be honest.
Raul G bought 5 coffees. I know someone mentioned this before, but great job on the YMH, Your Mom's House show.
Oh, thank you.
Video is getting closer to 1 million views, and the comments are overwhelmingly positive.
Amazing. I was talking to someone. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Urinal chills.
I can barely hear myself in my headphone.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's you?
Yeah.
Why don't you turn it up?
I'll try it later. I can barely reach that. They're messing with it to deal with the issues.
You want me to turn it up over here, Bill?
No, don't touch it. You're going to touch it too. You're going to make it worse.
Oh.
It's very sensitive. It'll go way too loud.
Sean said, play with the plug.
Urinal Chill says,
put it in that plug.
Good morning. How y'all?
How you?
Urinal Chill is a monthly supporter on
Thank
Rumble.
you. Amazing. Appreciate it.
Greenwall gave a diamond saying, do you want to return to child hometown Alabama?
Sweet home Alabama. That's a good question. I'm not against it, and I'm not for it at this point. I'm just letting life happen. But if life took me there, I'll go with no problems.
Stan69 gave a couple of diamonds, saying fentanyl is being used to kill off drug users and bums. The only way to solve the drug problem, at least in the government's eyes, seemingly, he didn't mention this part, but he said euthanasia. Terrible.
Amazing. What a mess.
I disavow.
What?
The government doing that, or whoever.
I don't know who's doing it, but it's funny.
Yep. It's not that funny.
What's funny?
People dying of fentanyl?
Well, it's not that funny.
Let's move on. Excuse me. Mike Young bought a coffee. Hey, Jesse. Sorry, Mike Young. I didn't see this in time. I didn't notice it. Hey, Jesse, I have a question for your guest. That was Jake, the rattlesnake of Rattlesnake TV. Jake Julius.
Jake Julius. He was here in the second hour. Check it out. Podcast if you didn't catch it.
Hey, Jesse, I have a question for your guest. Does he think that it's dumb for Christians to say that they shouldn't be in government? And what does he think about that?
Well, I'm just being told that he's going to appear on Joel Friday's show today at 11 a.m.
Wow.
Joel Friday, he be like, so Julius will be with Joel at 11 a.m. Pacific time.
Wayne from Texas bought a coffee, a tip for the producer. Technical tip for the producer. Thank you, Wayne from Texas. Appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Superman's daddy bought a coffee. Keep him pithy, Superman's daddy. He says, good morning, Jesse. People keep warning me about hell, and they're the ones that are already in it. One guy cheats on his wife and got mad when she had a conversation with a man at the auto parts store about her car. Another wants to be a pastor but keeps getting upset because his wife won't have such and such a degenerate thing. Sleeping around. Another controlled by every woman in his life, thinking a man is whatever they say it is. Another that's been lied to by his mom, just finding out who his real father is at 16, being so blind he had his dad's last name since birth and never questioned it. What a mess.
You stay away from it. That's their world. Don't get involved in their mess. Don't let that into your world. All right? Let them have their world.
And he thinks for Female Monday, you should deal with the women all on Monday and then forget about them. Go sit down until for the rest of the week.
What? Women need you to guide them, man. You're supposed to love them, not hate them. Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
And thank you, guys. I do believe. Oh, no. One more from Wayne, Texas. Hi, Jesse. If someone's mother died when they were young and they have resentment for their stepmom, whom should they forgive? Their real mom or their stepmom or both?
They should see who they resent. If they resent the stepmother, and all do, by the way, because kids don't like for step-parents to come into their life, their stepfather or stepmother into their life because they need the one parent that left, that they have, right? And so, but see for yourself. If you resent the stepmother, forgive her. She was wrong for coming into your life. And if you resent your mother thinking that she was wrong for leaving you, forgive her too. For whatever reason. All right? Amazing. Thank you.
Someone bought a coffee. Hello, Father and Uncle Jesse. Mom says you better bring home some watermelon, ribs, and grape soda. See you when you get home.
Good. Tell Mom I will. A nice suggestion.
And now, that's all for now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all. Amazing. Did you hear that interview with Julius?
I heard bits and pieces of it.
No, you were busy out there, huh?
Yeah.
What do you think? The little bit and pieces that you heard.
It was fun. I forgot that he was on the Fallen State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was amazing. All the way from Australia.
And he was right. He brought up that Tim Scott guy.
Yeah.
He kept on bringing up his mother. You had mentioned that before, way back when he was trying to run for president.
Everywhere he went, he talked about his mama. And then, and no wonder he on his knee begging some white woman to marry him that's already been married with children.
Yeah.
And he begged, baby, 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 please. Baby, baby, baby. Baby, baby, baby. Baby, baby, baby. What?
Nothing. I'm just ready to go.
And so Julius is gonna be on Joel today, Joel Friday show at 11 a.m. and they're gonna be dealing with love languages.
Wow, really? Maybe Joel is saying that just being facetious.
You think?
Not really, he says. Not really.
Oh, you're not gonna do that?
Yeah.
Well, why he sent me to say that then?
He didn't tell you to say it. He just jokingly said love language.
Oh, how would I know that? How will I know?
Because every show he pretends like he's going to be about love language.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. But the last show or 2 shows ago, it was not about relationships or anything.
In case y'all don't know what love language is, I want you to watch this from Therapy in a Nutshell. He said that's his favorite, the love language thing.
No, Hassan. Hassan said that.
Oh, Hassan.
Hassan's favorite.
This is what we were talking about with the love language thing, in case y'all don't know. Therapy in a Nutshell. The 5 love languages in a book that millions of couples have found to be helpful is improving communication and strengthening connection. But yeah, right. Watch this Therapy in a Nutshell.
It's called the 5 love languages. It's about just learning to love your spouse in the way they like to be loved. It's a #1 New York Times bestseller. That each person has a natural preference for how they like to give and receive love. He calls this preference a primary love language. And what that means is that the way an individual expresses or understands or receives love may fall into one of 5 categories. The first one is words of affirmation. So this is things like praise, saying I love you, giving compliments, or verbally expressing care. The second love language is physical touch. This can include sex, but it isn't limited to that. A toddler may enjoy roughhousing, teenagers may like a squeeze from the side, a friend may appreciate a hug, or a coworker may like a high five or a pat on the back. The third love language is gifts. This is not usually about materialism, but more often it's sentimentality. People appreciate something concrete to remind them of the other's love for them. The fourth one is acts of service, doing something for the other person, like cleaning their car or packing their lunch, helping them with a difficult project, etc. The fifth love language is quality time, spending time together. People have a primary love language, and they may not realize that the way they like to give love might not be the way the other person likes to receive it.
Ain't no such thing, no 5 languages of love. That's all hell. That'll get you in hell, that will keep you in hell. A man has to work at it like that. There's only one love, and that's from the Father, from God. And you don't need to do all that kind of work.
Yeah, that's what you say, catering to the ego.
That's all it is. Cater to you gotta clean your car. I gotta tell you every day I love you, and and then I gotta
pat him on the back.
What the? Ain't nobody happy doing that. I can promise you that. If they're happy, they have a false happiness that doesn't last. There's only one love, and it's in the heart. Our relationship is supposed to work by itself. You should not, do not do all that kind of work. It won't work. Amazing.
Yep.
Poor Tim Scott. Don't blame him. He was born in a 1-bedroom house.
Is that what he said?
Something like that. I don't know exactly. But what a mess.
Yep.
What are you dealing with today?
I'm gonna touch on Biden, and because they're saying that they're saying things about Biden. I'm gonna talk about this internet dirty video woman who says that she would still be putting out pornography even if she wasn't making money. And Brian Wilson was gushing over his late wife, calling her his savior.
Who is Brian Wilson?
The guy from the Beach Boys.
What?
Beach Boys, the singer.
I didn't think any of them were still alive.
No, you're thinking the Beatles.
No, I'm thinking the Beach Boys.
No, all the Beach Boys are, I don't know.
I thought they were old when I was a teenager. Maybe not. And so the Hake Report coming up now, thehakereport.com, and then Joel Friday at 11 a.m. And Joel Friday is having Julius on. For some reason, my headset went numb. I can't hardly hear myself. What happened?
He's trying to fix issues with the audio.
It's like
and he's messing with us.
It's like I'm outside of my headset.
It's muffled.
Yeah. I'm not hearing my headset through the headset. But it was all perfect before.
What the?
But it wasn't perfect for the audience.
Then the Anchor Baby at 12 today. Busy day. Men's Forum tomorrow night. Get on that straight and narrow, folks, and stay there. All right? By yourself. You can't take anyone on this trip with you. All right? Do the silent prayer. Forgive your mama. Forgive your daddy for not protecting you from mama. I'm telling you, your life will change. All right? And thank you all for your super chats and all that. I do appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Tomorrow, if the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise, Bible Thumper Thursday is a Trump. Amazing. Amazing. Take care, folks.
Check. I had to get on the track one time. Joel Friday here. Check. Look, stand up. We got fighting to do. We gotta show him who boss. He put a Viking in you. He put that lightning in you. Igniting the truth. But you beg and blame and lie and hate and never wanna stand for the truth. So what you planning to do? You understanding to lose? You better go talk to your mama. Better stop with the drama. Better drop all the trauma. Boy, you better stand up, man up. Put your hand up and hut. Cause if we don't, then we lose. And then we gotta hear the fake news. Whoa.
So you get something went wrong, but face the truth about yourself and just seek first God's kingdom, you must know thyself so you get something went wrong, but face the truth about yourself and just seek first God's kingdom, I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way.
So, here's what I recommend. I invite you to download my silent prayer, and I want you to start doing it. You just download it, get the points of how to do it, and then after a while, you just do it on your own. It's going to point you in the right direction that your life will be returned to you from God. He will give you your life back, because anyone and all people who has anger, they're not themselves. You are the person that you are angry at. That's why it's so important to get to know yourself so that you can see who you're angry at. And if you're doing the hooping and hollering prayers and things like that, some people get up, oh, praise the Lord, hoop and holler, bless my mama, bless my daddy. Continue to do it. Do both. You will see if you want to stay with the hooping and hollering or do you want to be still and know God. So my gift to you, no charge, at rebuildingtheman.com/church. Other than sex, I wonder, why would a man even need a woman today? Women don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean. They're in competition with men. They don't want to be wives and mothers. Some want to get married, but they don't want to live in that proper position of life. because the only purpose of marriage is to have a family. And that's been known forever. And so if you don't want to have children, there is no need to get married. And so I was wondering, why would a man even get married today? I never thought I'd see the day when women would come out of her natural role and be like a man. Even though she hate that role. When she was with a man that's weak, she hate him. But if he try to be strong, she'll stop it. I never imagined that. You're seeing good destroyed and abnormal is presented as normal.